Hey guys, and welcome back to the Nerditude Movie Podcast for
My eyes were
the
starting to
spooky
water.
month. If you are listening to this, we have all died. But
Tragically and violently.
we have four pre-recorded episodes for the month of
Five.
October.
Five.
Five,
Mobile.
five, five. One of which I will not
Booker
be
T,
here
man,
for,
5
but
times.
Lewis couldn't handle the week of American Werewolf in Paris.
I could not. Is that the better one, or is it American Werewolf
So
in
it's the
London?
cheese, like the American Werewolf in London is hailed as a classic. American Werewolf
Everybody's
in
like, wait a
Paris
minute,
is
that's my
like.
favorite. Why are you gonna say
I
that?
prefer American Werewolf in Paris because it's like. It was literally Bush is in the soundtrack. Like your mouth.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I prefer it.
For a second, I thought you were gonna say like you see a lot of bush.
Yes.
I was gonna say
There's a lot of werewolf Bush.
I thought you should say President Bush.
Yeah.
He's in the movie too.
I like
But-
this American Werewolf in Paris movie. It's American
So-
Werewolf guy.
So, if you've been a longtime listener, last October we kind of stuck with themes, and there was one week where an episode was lost. I'm thinking maybe sometime down the road we redo that episode with those movies with all four of us. Maybe
I
What?
forgot which ones they were though.
VHS
it was
one.
Which one?
VHS one. It was
Oh.
anthologies.
What we should
Oh,
do
yeah.
is
Oh.
review VHS 4, and then we'll do an episode to review the other three since they're technically their own trilogy because they were
Yeah.
closer to
But
production.
wasn't that also with that other one on
Trick or
Shutter?
Treat.
Trick or Treat?
Trick or Treat, and that other one on Shutter with oh god,
Balls Mahoney.
No, that wasn't host.
no, the
Slip Dickory.
the guy who plays one of the dads in fucking Pet Cemetery.
Weasel Monkey Pet 4.
Pet Cemetery 2, the dad.
What are the dads?
He's the old man.
My
He's the
two
old man.
dads.
The mortuary chronicles, or whatever it's called. What is it?
Did we lose that one?
The VHS one. Oh, the Mortuary Collection or whatever it was.
Was that
Yeah, we
with
did.
it? Was that with it?
I think so.
I don't honestly remember.
I don't know.
I
We'll have to
really like that movie. That was a good anthology.
we'll have to look in the vault, but it'd be cool to redo all of them with Giovanni.
New set of eyes.
But yeah, last October we did it was a cool month. We did themes for each week. This October we're kind of playing it more loosey goosey, but we're including a lot of newer movies that are coming out, which are
Like
awesome.
a flaccid penis. Yep.
Like
Just
a flash.
throwing it out there.
Or a chub that does the job. But yeah, so this week we chose three movies that have nothing to do with each other. We have Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight, The Cabin in the Woods, and Malignant, which we will talk about last.
Lewis hates this movie. He literally texted me a picture of his penis peeing on an image of it. I thought it was weird because it was mostly his penis in the image. but-
I sent him.
It was like that little image of the Ford guy, the kid peeing on the Ford. Image.
But he was recreating it.
I
Yeah,
sent him
but
a
in
screenshot
reality-
of the poster and then a pic of my dick and said, "Which one is gross?"
And I said neither. And then he came over and it got weird. Anyways,
So
I
we'll
didn't get
we'll
text, so that's weird.
we'll start. You're not in that group.
yeah,
Let's start
that's a
with
different group message.
The first movie, Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight.
Demon
of which
Knight.
there were two Tales from the Crypt movies. This is the better one.
By a
the
lot.
one that came after was Bordello
But
of
yeah,
Blood.
Dennis Miller,
I do
man.
believe I saw this one in theaters.
Did you really? Oh well, this came
I
out
think
in
so.
in '95.
Yeah, I believe I saw this one in theaters.
How old were you?
In '95, I was 76, so shit.
You were 76.
You're
No.
20
I was
years
born in
old.
'76. I was born in '76.
We're back in '95. I was
Shit.
the ripe old age of 76.
So I was about 18, 18, 19,
Remember
20.
thinking there's a bunch of
So,
whippersnappers
19
in
or
the
20.
theater. So many
19 or
want
20.
to see this blood and gore.
But this came out in '95. I couldn't find a budget for this because I use Wikipedia and I'm too lazy to look at anything else. But
You
the
could have
box
just
office-
added whatever you wanted though and created a budget for it. That's the beauty of
That's
Wikipedia.
The budget
Uh,
was
According to Abinda, whatever, it's called 13 million.
Estimated 13 mil.
13 million.
Yeah.
Okay. Box office 21.1 million.
Yes.
Not a
I just wanna
raging
mention-
success.
No, but well, I mean, 20. Yeah.
Profitable, kinda.
So I do want to mention some of the cast. So you have, I just like saying the name. CCH Pounder is such a funny name.
Don't you talk about Claudette from The Shield like that.
You have so Dick Miller plays Uncle Willie, who's fucking hilarious.
Uncle
Yes.
Willie played by Dick Miller. What a weird combination of names.
Uncle Willie Dick.
Uncle Willie's Dick Miller.
Of course, John Kessier, is that how you say his name? Does the voice of the Crypt Keeper.
Yes, yeah.
Jada Scientology Pinkett Smith.
No, it's
Oh,
Jada
no, she was
Pinkett
just
Pre-Smith. It was
Yeah, she
Pre-Smith.
was just Pinkett. She's in the movie. Thomas Hayden Church, who only ever plays Thomas Hayden Church.
Seriously, even when he was
Anything.
Sandman, he was Bro Sandman.
Yep.
The fuck?
Arguably the two best actors in this movie, William Sadler, who's a badass, and sex icon
Gary Farmer.
sex icon, Chicago
Deputy
native,
Bob.
and Greek heartthrob.
Original
Billy Zane.
superhero movie guy.
Yeah.
Billy Zane, who this is one of 3 movies he's ever
That's
been
not
in.
true.
It's this one. What's another one?
Sniper.
All right, another one.
Back to the
Phantom.
Okay, if you add one, you have to take one out because he's
That's
only
Titanic.
ever
That's
been in
not
3
fair.
movies.
That's Titanic. He
He's
Future.
won.
Dead Calm.
Didn't he get an
He's
Oscar?
only ever been in 3 movies.
Which
Doesn't he
he's
have an
really good in
Oscar?
Dead Calm.
Also, his Wikipedia page, he looks like a sailor. I like that.
So did anybody look up the trailer for this movie? Because before Jen watched it, I had to try to find a trailer. And the trailer's 2 minutes long, and it's literally the Crypt Keeper talking about it's their first film. And they do like a mock thing about it. And he's like, Billy Zane from Dead Calm. And he's like, William Sandler from Die Hard, Die Harder. And it's a trippy fucking trailer. But I had to search to find one. It's a long one. It's literally him. And then there's like a mock of him like dressed up as Schwarzenegger shooting guns.
Well, at the end, he also says that there's going to be another movie coming up.
Yeah, a terrible movie.
But
Not
but
terrible, but
what was it called? What was it
Bordello
called?
of Blood.
No. It wasn't even called that. It was. Oh shit! What the fuck was it
Oh, I
called?
don't know. We're gonna play this game again. Nobody say anything.
But at the end, he says that there's going to be another movie. When you look for it, there was never a movie made.
Well, because there was supposed to be a trilogy of Tales from the Crypt movies.
Okay.
Which they made their own production company because before this it was going to go to Bad Moon, and I don't know if you guys know Bad Moon Studios. They do the Puppet Master movies. They do shit horror movies.
Yeah, they're the ones that Alex was hawking that subscription service for.
Oh,
I
yeah,
do.
Yeah.
I do want to get it just to get the box set and then cancel it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you remember that?
not Bad Moon, Full Moon Studios
Yeah.
is what I'm thinking of. Yeah, they're bad. But yeah, so I mean, we could just jump into this movie. It's really old. If you have not seen it, you're an idiot.
Idiot.
Obviously, this is a film version of the Tales from the Crypt series, which the cool thing about the Tales from the Crypt series, I don't know if you guys have watched like whatever you can on YouTube.
Most of all of it.
So many actors got not their start, but so many actors starred in Tales.
It
from
was the
Crypt.
Miami
Fucking
Vice of
crazy.
the 90s, bro.
Yes.
Mhm.
And late 80s, but it was like 88, 89, I think is when it first started.
Wasn't it HBO that was doing this?
Yes, and they don't have the
Yeah.
rights to the actual Tales of the Crypt. Otherwise, like, it is one of the worst things that is not on HBO Max. Like, it's such a fucking pile of horse shit that they haven't been remastered in 1080p and they haven't been put on HBO Max. The Shield, Hulu, to their credit, took The Shield, and they didn't just throw the old school 480p DVD transfers. They took the new Blu-ray 1080p transfers and put the entire series out on Hulu. It's horse shit that, because I gotta go to YouTube, and every time I find a new page that has them, it gets shut fucking down because they get sued. And the only way you could buy it is on fucking eBay now with that Blu-ray and DVD set they brought out, which is they released for 2 months, and then it was sky high, and you like it's horse shit because you can't get it. I think you might. I don't even know if you can buy it digitally. If you can, it's probably $20 a fucking season.
If only there was somebody that could fucking download it.
I know. I gotta contact the dark web friends of mine.
So at one point, the Stars almost did a line that TNT was gonna do a Tales from the Crypt
Yeah, I
reboot
remember.
with Shamalama Ding Dong.
Shamalama Ding Dong.
But the problem is that instead of one company owning the rights, like Marvel, to a thing, like 5 people own the rights to EC Comic and Tales from the Crypt. So you need all of them to be like, okay, we each get paid this much, which is why there's never going to be a Tales from the Crypt show.
Well, I mean, did you guys hear that the Disney Puke Fest Predator movie has been filmed and finished?
No. God damn it.
Disney's literally going to take over the entire industry and ruin everything. It's like, no, this is going to be Gladiator with Toy Story, okay? It's like, go fuck yourself, Disney. No, this is Star Wars with a positive message. It's like, positive message, you killed off half the fucking cast in the last movie. What the fuck are you talking about?
They all put down the lightsabers and keys.
You don't, the Force is a mindset, okay? It's not binary. Get the fuck out of here.
I hate when my Schwartz gets tangled.
Yes, give me a
wait, is that the
Spaceballs
wrong-
sequel. I want old Bill Pullman. Rick Moranis, he did a commercial not too long ago. He's back, baby. Get him into Spaceballs 2. And the other guy, we can't stop. We're going too fast. That guy. Bullshit! One of my favorite scenes. One of the few movies that's rated PG, and he says "fuck" in it.
There's a lot of.
There is. I mean, at the end of the movie, oh shit, a space ball. Like even the Planet of the Apes are like, oh, these dipshits.
Love when they're fucking foaming the planet. But did you find anything? We ain't found shit.
Well, they give him the literal comb. Ridiculous movie. Yeah, they got a pick.
Oh my god!
But it's people hate that movie. They say it's one of Mel Brooks' worst, and I don't understand it. I love
I think
it.
it's one of his best.
No, it's absolutely one of his best.
Like people like he doesn't like his movies didn't get better. Like Men in Tights is still great though. It's a ridiculous dumb movie.
Now, one of his other movies that's really bad is Life Stinks.
You don't like Life Stinks?
No, that is a bad movie.
You don't like it?
But I do. I love it.
I
But I'm
dig
just saying it is a bad movie.
I'd have to watch it again and review it, like how we review them now.
Compared to Spaceballs, I think I would go with Spaceballs as, you know.
Well, I mean, his like you can't get. I don't think he gets better than Young Frankenstein.
That's my favorite.
Blazing Saddles is what.
Oh God.
Love Blazing Saddles.
It can't be made today.
Excuse me. No, I mean
Blazing
the whole scene where he goes, "Let me just whip this out," and he pulls out the letter, and they all gasp. No, nothing Mel Brooks has ever done, I think, could be made nowadays. Truthfully,
No.
Yeah, no.
I mean, realistically, his whole humor was pointing out the absurdities in human behavior, and society now is intolerant of being told where their faults are, and that's what it is. Like the reason why. You know, you can't do racial humor is because you have the people in the back of their mind that all they see is like, well, if this is racism. And it's like, well, that's because that's how you feel about people. Like, there's no hate on my side. It's a joke. Like, you're projecting your own prejudices on my outlook on life. And that's where the problem is we live in a world of you can't say that, but you're telling me what like, who are you to say that? I mean... Every asshole can have a podcast. Who's to tell them they can't say what they want to say? Like, you don't like it, you don't like it, don't listen. But beyond that, go fuck yourself.
There's fucking mob bosses who have podcasts who talk about how they murdered people, and everybody loves it.
I actually like those It's because none of them sound educated. Let's be fucking honest. It's some Guido who's just like, no, we back then you used to talk in code, so let's say a made man was like a Badajule, and it's like, what the fuck did he just say?
There's one guy on the other side of the recording with the gun pointed to him saying, just keep recording and edit it the way we want it.
Well, those guys are ballsy, especially as they got older. They're like, I beat cancer. Let him fucking come for me. I'm doing a podcast. They don't give a shit. They're 65. They're ready to go. They're like, if I can make some money before I check out, like, here we go. Hit me up on iTunes. I'm the Iceman Killer. You know what I mean? They don't give a shit.
I want to make a Sopranos recap podcast called Gabagool.
Gabagool. The gravy. I hate how they called sauce gravy in that fucking show. The gravy. You mean sauce? You know what gabagool is? It's fucking capicola. How do you get gabagool from capicola? I'm probably even saying it wrong, but I'm not saying gabagool. I'm not Michael Scotting it. I love that episode. I think the episode's titled Michael Scott versus the Mob or something, or Takes on the Mob.
So back to what we were talking about.
Yes, the movie at hand. Jackie Jotana.
Did anybody notice?
Jackie
Did anybody notice
Daytona.
from beginning to the end?
No.
How Crypt Keeper was actually tall in the beginning, and at the end he was like this little dwarf walking at the red
You can
carpet?
clearly see that it is a little person in a costume walking the red carpet from the helicopter angle.
Yeah, when he was walking to bitch at John Larroquette, he's actually taller.
John Larroquette being in it is funny though. That's a funny cameo.
Hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Fucking Night Court, man.
Oh yeah.
I love Night Court.
My favorite silly thing in this movie is the thing that holds Jesus' blood in it. How every time someone else takes it, it makes the jaguar sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or whenever they show it.
Or whenever a star appears on it.
How much blood was in there though? Because he was like she was smart where she's just like a little dab on the window and he's just like boop 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 boop. There's only so much left. Boop boop.
He did put his thumb on it and dump it out.
So why didn't he do that then wipe his thumb on another surface?
Exactly.
He's pouring tablespoons of it out, and I'm like, holy shit.
Like I'm just saying, for a demon fighter, he's a fucking
also
moron.
17.
So he's actually earlier because he was like 20 whatever night, or for whatever age he's locked in. Like, by the way, William Sadler in Die Hard 2, the first thing you see of him is his naked karate he's practicing. I just want everybody to remember he's fully clothed in this movie. But my memories are like the weird Steven Seagal, because that's when Die Hard 2 is the worst Die Hard movie, besides maybe... It's the worst Die Hard movie, we'll just say that. It does introduce people like Robert Patrick come into it and blah, blah, blah. But it is a Christmas movie technically, so we may be able to do it this year for Christmas, because it does take place during the holidays. They killed that for number 3.
The airport?
Yeah.
The airport?
It's the one that is more violent than the first one by quite a bit, but it's not as good as a movie. But, literally the first time you see him, he's like doing like Tai Chi naked and he's ripped. And then you see him in this, and then let's not forget he's in VHF or VFW.
VFW, yeah.
So it's a little weird that we've covered that many William Sadler movies. I mean, we haven't reviewed Die Hard 2 yet, but
he is also he's in The Mist, and he's gonna be in another King movie, the remake of Salem's Lot.
I'm looking forward to
like
that.
William Sadler.
I do too. He's not a bad. He's a little out of place in my opinion. Like he's a little too old, I think, for this role. Because despite the fact that he's supposed to be as old as he is, he's still locked at the age of whatever he was when he was fighting World War One. So I think this movie would have probably been better suited with a younger actor that could have played better with Billy Zane. Because Danny DeVito, Billy Zane carries this movie. Like
Absolutely.
Billy Zane is Demon Knight. Without his goofiness, this movie is your run-of-the-mill whatever monster movie, cheesy monster movie.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboy Zane was fucking awesome.
He's amazing.
Just like Billy Zane carries all of Chicago on his shoulders.
I'd like to buy him a pizza. Hit at me, Billy Zane.
No,
I will say
I
this
agree
movie.
with Matt. Billy Zane does carry the movie.
Absolutely. And for a movie that uses Christian and Catholic religious
Was that
backstories,
involved in this?
Dogma.
this one though I think does the best at kind of telling that like lore.
I mean,
and taking it on in the movie.
Kind of. I mean, the thing about Jesus getting crucified is there wouldn't have been a dude that's just like wandering. It's like, oh, these guys got really fucked up, huh? Like, it was a spectacle. Jesus Christ, like in Passion of the Christ, was an ass whooping up a mountain. Like, people knew he was there. It wouldn't have just been some dude like, oh, did the holy shit, man. Like, it didn't work that way. But
and I also like how the dude's like, might as well collect some of your blood.
Yeah, oh, you're bleeding, huh? Does it hurt when I poke it? Then the demon's just chilling there like, I need it. I need it. He's like a crackhead trying to get Christ's vile blood.
Give me the key.
Some bitch, give it. $10 for a Lucy.
$10. They cost 10 cents.
No, Lucy's are like $1.50, bro. What streets are you running?
In my day.
Oh, back in the day.
This and Bordello of Blood, though, this movie feels more like I'm watching a very long episode of Tales from the Crypt. Like, it feels like Tales from the Crypt.
I will also say I think the biggest downer for Bordello of Blood is you have a much superior vampire movie from Dusk Till Dawn. And, you know, they're easily compared to each other because they're very much the same story of getting lured into this area and then they're vampires and it's scary, they attack. And the problem is Dusk Till Dawn, in my opinion, is just trumps that movie. Dusk Till Dawn feels much more like a Tales from the Crypt movie than Bordello of Blood does.
Dusk Till Dawn is two different movies.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, well, and that, you know, that's the smart thing that they did in the marketing for that movie too, was none of the trailers said it was a vampire movie. The original trailers it was the story they're presented about the brothers on their road trip of like mayhem. And then when audiences saw it, they were like, what the like it literally goes from like Selma Hayek in arguably her prime dancing to her ripping people's heads off. It's such an amazing movie.
Is both those vampire movies came out the same year.
I also do appreciate that Los Lobos
one has
is in that
fucking
movie.
Corey Feldman, and the other one has everybody else.
So, by the way, Los Lobos is in the movie Roadhouse. The same dudes that are the band from Dusk Till Dawn, they're in the one bar in the beginning of Roadhouse. And Jen was like, hey, it's the guys from Dusk Till Dawn. And my heart swelled like the Grinch. I was like, nice reference. And, recoiled. But I dig this movie. It's I forget how truly violent it is.
Yes, it's extremely.
It is a gory ass movie.
I do like the demons that came up from his blood.
Shoots the eyes.
Do you like how one of the baby ones he kisses it on the forehead? He's like,
oh, I love that part. I actually wrote that down.
He's so fucking goofy in this movie, and it's so perfect.
Kissing the fucking baby.
My favorite Billy Zane scene is when he comes up to Irene, and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "I'll give you your arm back, Irene." And he's like, "What's that?" She's like, "This is me giving you the finger." He's like, "I'll get back to you."
Yeah.
Just gonna leave. Oh, it's so good.
When he's like, when he's walking past the wreck, and they're like, "Be careful, mister, there's a fire." And he's like, "I know, it's my car." And they're just kind of like, "What?" I do, and I know we're skipping this I'm skipping to the ending. It does have an awesome ending where you see the next demon, where he's just kind of like, "I'll get the next one." And it's like, so, and the whole mystique, and literally he just starts following the bus's path, whistling.
The Crypt.
Well, they've got time now because the alignment hasn't come, and you can see by the end of the movie she's already got 1 star though. Yeah. So one of the stars is already aligned. So it's like, it's one of those mythologies they developed that I really do kind of wish they would have continued. Hell, I wish they'd make a new one.
They could do it now to this day without being.
You could have her in it passing it down, or you could have it. I mean, get rid of the whole Western motif. Throw it in the future.
Yeah.
It's true.
Make it a generation or two from the other movie, but have it the same concept.
It's set up to where they could have had a sequel, and I wish they would have went that route. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But the problem is, for whatever reason, I feel like the Tales from the Crypt franchise and licensing itself it's a weird purgatory for some reason. As Lewis said, it's got 5 different people in ownership, so it's like. It's the same problem they're having with Predator, that the original creators and writers are trying to buy licensing back. But let's be honest, if you're dealing with a company like Disney, you're not going to win.
The same problem that Friday the 13th's having.
I honestly, dude, I haven't looked forward to 2 movie releases in a long time the way I look forward to Halloween Kills and VHS 4. I cannot fucking wait.
Speaking of that, this year is crazy for fucking horror. I mean, you had the Night House, which I haven't seen.
Where do you stream that? Is that, or you have to buy it?
It come out. It comes out on digital October 5th.
What movie was that? I feel like I missed the trailer, or if I saw it, I just don't remember it.
It was being compared to Hereditary.
Okay.
But that movie came out under the radar, did wildly successful. Um, Candyman came out this year, which is now on
To
demand.
rent.
I watched it twice.
Is good.
Um, I liked it. I could see why a lot of people didn't, but it was an example of a new movie using existing like material and using it like in a good way, like
Was
it
it
didn't tarnish.
was it a movie? Because I actually really want to see it myself. Is it a movie that is not scary but cinematically creepy and it's got a good atmosphere?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
all atmosphere. It made me feel it made me think of an A24 movie because the movie is very pretty. Like the cinematography
I've
is
heard The Green
crazy.
Knight is really good, or whatever that movie's called.
Yeah, A24 puts out some good stuff and some really wacky stuff. But you had Candyman come out. I watched that twice. As far as TV shows, I mean, What We Do in the Shadows is a fantastic show if you
Oh
have
my
not watched
goodness.
it.
And it's not
If
only good for like, and I know we don't give, let's be honest, a perspective to the ladies a whole lot, but it is one of those shows that like my wife kind of like, I tried to get her into it a long time ago, the movie, and I tried to get her in the show when I first started watching it, which was like maybe 6 months ago, and she had no interest. And then once she watched the first episode, she was hooked. It is The Office meets vampires. Hell, it's even got
Yeah,
Nate in it,
exactly.
for fuck's sake.
Yep.
There's
By the way,
also
he's not technically deaf, but he does have trouble hearing anytime there's variant noises around. So you got to be careful for that.
there's also Creep Show just returned. If you have
Yes.
I haven't watched
Um,
any of the new Creep Show series. That's
I,
gonna be
I just finished season 2,
that's
so I'm
gonna be my
excited
night.
to start it tomorrow.
I've been looking for something to watch at night when my wife's asleep. That is my new nightly watch now.
Also, if you're the man who does, I don't want to say the man. That sounds weird.
Like
Mike
Deuterino?
Flanagan. Mike Flanagan, who did he either did Gerald's Game or In the Tall Grass. He did one of the two. He does The Haunting of Hill House, The Haunting of Bly Manor. He has a new show
Hmm.
called Midnight Mass
Any good?
that just came out this Friday. It's also getting rave reviews. And then we're reviewing Malignant later. VHS 94 is coming out. Halloween Kills. Like, there's so much cool fucking horror. What's up?
Did you like the tall grass?
In the Tall
I
Grass?
think we talked about this once before.
I think In the Tall
Yeah, I
Grass
like
was
it.
directed by the
Feels
guy who
good.
did Dark City,
Do you guys
Yes.
all like
Alex
it?
Yes.
Porteous or whatever his name is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. that's
Porteous.
right.
Yeah, I watched it with my wife, and she was kind of like lost in it.
It
but,
gave Alex liquid hot diarrhea.
I just don't like when I get more questions than I fucking get to watch the movie.
But you don't. I mean, but that's your wife engaging with you. Like, engage with her. Just
But
be like, hey,
we're
you
watching the
know,
movie for the first time together, so I can't answer it.
Make
Then-
a fake answer.
then yeah, just give it to her. Either that or go
I
full
do.
Andrew Dice Clay. And just,
Be like, it's
shut
all
the
in your
fuck up!
mind."
I'm trying to watch the movie.
But anyways, what we could jump back to the movie. But what I'm saying is, there's so much cool shit coming out this year. Paranormal Activity is supposed to come out this year.
You know they're
Texas
gonna
Chainsaw
drop
is
it like
supposed to come
October
out this
13th
year.
on a random like. It's not Friday, but it's the 13th.
That's
So
how they do it all the
if-
time.
If you're one of those gatekeepers who says there hasn't been good horror in a long time, one, you're a fucking idiot.
Check out
Two,
Malignant, right, guys?
There's a lot of cool shit coming out this year. We'll get into Malignant. But anyways, any other thoughts on Demon?
Go watch it. It's goofy. The story is simple. It's essentially the old school story of good versus evil. It's actors you know. Billy Zane makes the movie.
He does. The special effects are
I thought,
the practical effects.
Yeah, they are really good,
Really
yeah.
well
yeah,
done.
oh yeah,
Really well done. They hold up.
I thought the kid that played that Danny kid, I thought he was from Mad Max Thunderdome, the boomerang kid.
No.
I could have swore, dude, they're spitting.
I recognize him too, but I don't remember what from. I feel like he
Yeah,
was
but
like a
it
side
wasn't-
character, either in
Yeah.
a TV show or like a movie. Like he was just kind of like one of the kids.
I actually Googled him. He has no picture for himself or nothing, but
Also, I just
Yeah.
want to point out the postal worker literally planning to go postal.
he's Roger Rabbit, isn't he?
What?
Isn't he the voice of Roger Rabbit?
Is he? I don't know. I didn't know
I
that.
don't know. I believe what's his name? Charles Fletcher.
You're going to present
Fisher?
facts and you're presenting facts as questions. I don't know that shit.
Let's see.
You
let's
deep
see.
dove somewhere.
Yeah, I did.
He is in Who Framed Roger. Oh yeah, he's Roger Rabbit.
No shit, really?
Yeah.
That is awesome.
And Benny the Cab, and Greasy, and Psycho.
Yeah, he does a lot of them.
I'll have to tell Jen that. That's one of her favorite movies.
I love the villain in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Christopher Lloyd, Doc Brown.
Yeah, he's so good.
He's very menacing in that movie. All right.
I know, which is really weird.
Final thoughts, and or whoever starts this next, give your hot dogs at the end.
It's a good movie. It's a movie you should watch. It's like this movie didn't do well when it came out, but it is a cult classic, and if you haven't seen any of the Tales from the Crypt franchise, this is definitely a good way to start. And
Treat it as a goofy, fun movie. Don't go into it's a horror movie. No, it's a goofy, fun movie.
It's a movie that still represents what Tales from the Crypt was.
Yeah, I miss Tales. That is one series
it had celebrities. It had good acting.
I would really love it to come back, but there's so much potential to fuck it up, though. Look at what happened with Twilight Zone. You had a guy who Jordan Peele behind it, and it's fallen flat. That's the worry is they're gonna load it with celebrities, but the stories themselves won't be they're not gonna push it. I mean, think of all the episodes that you had of Tales of the Crypt and some of the shit they pulled off in those episodes.
I think where Twilight Zone failed was they put it on network TV instead of.
Wasn't it? No, it wasn't only. It was only part of the CBS thing.
Was it?
Yeah, you couldn't.
So then, why wasn't it kind of R-rated then?
Why
didn't they push the envelope?
I don't know.
Half of the first season Twilight Zone tries to dip into themes that are very in the political climate, which is a problem because you can't introduce you can do those stories, but you can't introduce a legacy show like that and immediately dive into that because you're going to lose a big part of that audience, and then you're trying to gain trying to gain audience in horror. Good fucking luck. You need to play to your demographic.
I mean, not only that, but why does it need to be political? A story like Candyman is inherently political. It is about race issues. That belongs there. Or create a news story. But Twilight Zone is not. It's supposed to be about the weird and the warped and the sci-fi and the just kind of funky stories. You can include some of that stuff, but I'm getting tired, and I don't care what spectrum you're on, blue, red, it's all fucking stupid. We're all just Americans, dude. Chill the fuck out. But no matter what spectrum you're on, I don't understand this need to make everything about race. What happened to just entertainment? When can we get back to the point of and Lewis and I have actually talked about this. There's the movie The Hunt. And it is and the problem I have with the movie is they wanted to claim that it wasn't political, but it is. But once again, it is a movie that called people like me racists and stupid and attacked, but it's a fucking movie. I enjoyed the movie, and I'm one of the I'm just somebody who can't ignore it, but people do need to learn to separate things, and it's the problem with stand-up comedy now too. That's full on under attack, and it's just getting to this idea of and I maintain this: if we're gonna judge everything on that spectrum, right? So if you are Kevin Hart and you said a racial joke 10 years ago, or a joke that was offensive 10 years ago, if that can bite you in the ass, then why cannot actors get bit in the ass for playing racial characters or racists or rapists or murderers? If we're not going to separate the art forms, right? If it's all got to be judged by the same blanket eyes, then why aren't we every actor who's ever played any character that's been a murderer, rapist, sexist, misogynist, racist, any of the ists? Theoretically, we should be canceling them, right? Because why would they add into the system? And that's the problem, is it's just a huge double standard. And it's both sides. Anybody who was so offended by The Hunt that they just couldn't get over the fact that it's just a dumb, goofy, gory, fun movie, that's your fucking problem. Do I agree with shit in it? A lot of it? No. But it's entertainment. It's a movie. And I draw the line at, if I'm at a live concert and the singer's spouting off about his fucking political beliefs, that's where I'm shut up, dude. But if somebody wants to put a message into their movie, it's their fucking movie. If we want to say something on our podcast, it's our podcast. Like, don't watch, but you're not a martyr. You're just another person who didn't watch the fucking product. Like, get over yourself. Everybody, get over your fucking selves. Including me in some cases. I didn't give The Hunt a chance for a while because I had read things that's kind of like, And it was also in that time when it's just like, we became exhausted.
The fucking.
Are you falling asleep, Giovanni?
No, I'm looking
Damn.
at my...
I thought I was catching him in one of my sleep zones.
I think The Hunt is
The
on
red light.
Hulu.
Yeah.
It's got some cool fucking kills in it.
I like how they give you some. It gives you like fake outs, and then the violence. I mean, it's the violence is really well done. The storyline is goofy. It's not really much of a storyline, but that's not a problem. The cast is good. The acting is all really good. Like, it's one of those things. Like, yeah, if you're anywhere right of center, you're not gonna agree with its message. But it's a fucking movie.
I mean, to go off on a small tangent, even the marketing for that movie pissed me off because it's like, just put that out. Like, you're intentionally trying to piss off a group of people, and you're being political.
It's a hot button topic. You should have just released it and let it like wildfire, like you wanted it to.
Well, it's also like, don't bring that shit in the horror genre. Horror movies don't do that.
Well, isn't that the whole point of horror? Is like, it doesn't matter. Like, in a horror movie, realistically, it doesn't matter your sex, your gender, your race, your religion, nothing. If it's in the movie at one point, you're all mostly going to get wiped out.
The only thing that matters is how fast you can run.
Yeah,
that's it.
like that. Like Jason doesn't care.
Run faster than somebody else.
Or whether or not you're a virgin.
Yeah.
You might not want to be a virgin in a horror movie. You are right.
Not you're a virgin.
I need to work on that quick. Because if I'm ever in a horror movie, oh boy. My wife is telling me the honeymoon's coming up. We've been married almost 5 years.
But let me get my ratings. So it's a cult classic for me. It's even if you're not familiar with the franchise, it's a good movie. This is easily a 5 out of 5 for me.
Go next. Yes.
Very nice.
You go now, Giovanni, before you fall asleep again.
Watching this movie, it had me.
At hello. The goddamn narcolepsy's kicking in again, asshole.
Watching this movie, it reminded me of Tales from the Crypt. Man, it brought it all back. It was great.
The whole intro and everything, yeah.
The laugh, like I was so happy. And this is I think Billy Zane was perfect because this is a perfect blend of comedy and horror. I know movies nowadays try and do that. They don't do it very well. But this is proof that you can combine comedy and horror.
Did you guys get my text about Severance?
I need to watch that.
Severance Pay?
Do you remember Severance from back in the Blockbuster days, Alex? It's a British horror movie that dropped, and we got like one copy. It's on, I don't remember if it was Netflix or Hulu. It's on one of them, but check it out. It's a good movie. It's classic British comedy horror. It's awesome.
I might have saw
watch it tomorrow.
Like in between the 20 text messages.
I think it came out around the same time as Shaun of the Dead, so it was riding that wave of like, oh, the British horror movies, the British horror comedies. Did you give your hot dogs, Jobo? No, right?
No. I love this movie, and it's an easy 5 out of 5 for me as well. This is a great movie, great memories. Definitely watch it.
So this is where I disappoint.
Oh,
man, give us your review and tell us why it's a 5.
1 out of 5. No.
See, the problem is you got to stop comparing everything to
John Wick.
Fucking action. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole time I was watching this movie, and I'm like, the biggest problem with this movie is John Wick. And then it got goofy at the end, and I'm like, what's a vampire or demon movie doing getting goofy? No.
Where's John Wick?
The fight choreography in this movie.
Oh no, I'm dropping my selfie light again. All right, I'm gonna leave that the way it is because we're almost done with this review for now. Anyway, I give it a 5. It's one of my favorites. It's a classic in my eyes. Still holds up with the practical effects. Billy Zane makes it. I feel William Sandler was not the right choice. He's too serious for this movie. I think if you would have had somebody a little bit younger, a little bit more, like a little bit who with kind of like had the witty tongue, somebody from the early 90s that was kind of up and coming, but was a little bit in the humor realm, maybe would have worked better. But because of that, I think Billy Zane really does hold down this movie.
He did look like a deer fucking caught in headlights every now and then.
He was basically the reason my wife enjoyed the movie. Like once he came in, because I kept
Okay.
telling her, I was like, the movie's goofy as shit, and it doesn't really get goofy till he comes in.
Mhm.
And then once he comes in, she was like, "Oh, okay, I get it." Like you could tell it was like, "I get it now. It is goofy." Like I thought he was just lying to me, this piece of shit rat bastard. But yeah, no, easy 5 for me. I love this movie. I was glad we could review it. Alejandro,
Well, for me, it was a 5 as well. This was one of my favorite Billy Zane movies, and I think this
You
was the
mean-
first time I ever saw it.
out of the 3, this is one of the
Out of
favorite.
3, yeah.
No,
yeah.
he's got more than that, but I'm not gonna give him this story.
Alex totally just like, no, this is where I steamroll the joke.
No. I like Billy Zane. I've always liked Billy Zane.
Hey,
I don't
man.
like him in Phantoms.
Why not? If you're a real Billy Zane fan, you like him in the Phantom.
You're-
Okay,
you're
not
not a
Phantoms.
I don't like him in
Okay, not
Phantom.
Phantom of the
You're
Opera.
not a Zaner.
The Fan.
Phantom.
Yeah, you're not a Zaner, bro.
Dude, he was riding that fucking horse throwing. That was fucking.
If
weird.
you don't like his silk Barney suit, I don't know if you're a man.
no, I'm not standing by Phantom.
The
No,
Phantom.
but yeah, the Phantom.
Say it right,
Sorry.
man. Jeez. Give it a
Oh
little
my God, you
respect
fucking
out your
stop.
mouth.
No, but I really did enjoy his presence in this movie, and I did like Jada Pinkett, because that's what she was called,
Pre-Smith.
and nobody knew that she was like going to be crazy later, or that she was going to cheat on Will Smith. Why did she do that to him? Anyway,
What the hell happened to this review all of a sudden? Why did she do it? Why?
what the fuck was her problem?
Jada, why would you do that to William?
No, but I really did enjoy this movie. Even CCH Ponder, like this was before I even knew she was the Shield.
Well, she's also a fairly predominant role in the later seasons of Sons of Anarchy as well.
Yeah, and she
Mhm.
was also in like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego and all that shit.
She was also RoboCop 3.
Yes.
Oh
But, like-
shit, she was.
Yeah,
He
that's
was RoboCop. I'm
not a
trying to
good
look
one.
up who a good mid-90s male lead could have been in this movie.
Brad Pitt.
No,
Hell
What
yeah.
about-
not
what about-
with comedic. He can't do comedic things.
Yeah.
You're-
Have you
yeah,
never
not
seen
yet.
Snatch?
Not yet.
Hear
Not
me
yet.
out. What about James Vanderbeek?
Oof.
Mid-90s.
Maybe
Oof.
I like that because he did really good in that. What was that? A spinoff from.
But when
Oh,
he
God.
first sees Billy Zane, he does the meme face, the crying Vanderbeek face.
I mean, if
that
you're
he's in.
95, I mean, Kyle Reese. Actually, Michael Bain actually wouldn't have been a bad alternative. I actually think he would have been better than William Sandler. I don't
Does
know.
that
It's a
character
hard
need
one.
to be serious, or do you want
No.
him to bring a little bit
I mean,
of
the problem
He-
is like you literally, it's really two tones though. Like,
It was more of like the
Mhm.
age. It was more like the age grouping because he's supposed to be in the war against the Nazis, but he wasn't. He
Well,
wasn't like in the age
no.
in age genre of who would have been in the fucking Fox.
let's not forget our history, mate. The World War One was not fought against Nazis. Nazis
was
were
this
in
one
World
at?
War Two.
They weren't shooting Nazis. Then?
Well, there was
What
Germans in World War One, but they weren't Nazis. It was,
World War
it
One,
was,
yeah, they weren't
it was,
World
it
War
was
One.
pre-democratic socialist party that the Nazis claimed to be.
Oh, I thought I didn't know the years. I thought they were shooting Nazis because I thought.
No, it was World
No,
War
no.
World War One, 1917's
Okay.
number one.
Okay.
It's before you had Allies with access, mate. I actually been watching a lot of Russell Brand videos. Sorry, I'm gonna do random British accents.
Yeah.
Did you give your hot dogs yet, Javon or Alex?
Giovanni said 5.
I
and
said
I'm gonna
Alex!
say 5 as well.
Awesome.
Well, you said Giovanni too.
It was in flub up. Once again,
It was a
call me out on everything. I don't understand
I'm
it.
just saying.
I don't get it.
saying.
Nobody.
I'm just following through.
Nobody
I'm going-
yells
I'm
at
going
you
with the
for
flow.
forgetting a
walking
thought.
here.
I'm done. I'm gonna turn into a Jersey Mafia guy. Like Jen's gonna point a gun at me. It's gonna all be under pressure.
One of my favorite lines though was when he says "Vaya con Dios," he goes "Vaya con Diablos."
Yeah,
And he's telling him, that was
he is one of the nicest demons I think ever portrayed in a
He
movie.
is.
Like
And
he's
he
just
was
He
a,
right
really
away.
is.
By
it's
the
like
way,
it's like I kind of want to take
I
that
lied.
demon out to get a beer. He seems like a fun fella.
until he says I lied.
Billy Zane and what's his face? Thomas Hayden. Just before that, he's like, do something about
Riker,
Yeah,
Breaker.
he's kind of a dick, and he's like, isn't he though?
Yeah.
There you go,
Well,
yeah.
see, that's the thing though, is like but you do get the sense that he does have respect for him though. Like he
Oh, yeah.
looks at the other humans as like piss on nothings. So when the guy's talking shit about it, he's like, nah. Like there's a certain kind of like, I've been hunting you a while. Like, because the demons, how, I mean, the also the premise of the demons, how they, the dark side of the planet is where they came from and how they kind of morph that into the actual creature is interesting. And then, it also, there is some lore they give you as far as the different demon classes. Billy Zane can't be killed by just puncturing the eyes, like the low levels, like stuff like that. It's all stuff that, sequels would have been awesome because they would have been able to explore it more.
It would have been great.
You could have developed
Awesome.
a quasi underworld-esque trilogy, but instead of vampires, lycans, it's demons versus, because you open up the organization. Like, it can't just be him. Like, there's got to be more of something to it. You know what I mean? Like, even
Gotta
the
get a lot of Bush though.
tons of the American,
Like
and only
your
the
mouth.
werewolves in Paris.
Your
Though.
mouth.
I like Bush. I don't like all of Bush, but I like Bush. Kevin Rosdale's Bush specifically.
Did you like Bush playing this in the water, in the rain? The concert, never mind. Go for it.
That's what I'm just gonna do from now on. I'm just gonna go silent, and I'm gonna like let the awkwardness fill the room.
But then when you talk, you're gonna realize you're muted.
Yeah,
Just get up and walk away.
I'm literally talking trash, and then you're like, you're muted, and then it's just like, well, I don't feel like saying that again now. That was mean.
You're mad.
And you're like, what'd you say? And I'm like, nothing. I was just talking about the rain. All right, we'll be right back with the next movie, which is Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods.
All right, when you're ready, let's I Dream a Genie this shit.
Like,
All right. Second movie is The Cabin in the Woods. Although I've always just called it Cabin in the Woods.
Certain movies you don't need the
Duh.
Certain movies you do, like The Phantom.
You had.
True
Phantom.
Zanger over here. So this movie, produced by and written by Joss Whedon, also written by Drew Goddard and directed by Drew Goddard. And
This was before Joss Whedon was ousted as a horrible sexist piece of shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is true. So I just want to dive into Drew's background. So he actually worked hand in hand with Whedon on a lot of projects, and he's also like been in a lot of big projects, but not like he's had his hands in a lot of projects, but he's only directed one movie, and that's this movie. Cabin
shit.
in the Woods.
Drew Goddard
but
sounds
he-
like a familiar name.
Well, he was a writer for Cloverfield. He wrote for World War Z, specifically when the studio was like, we don't like the third half of the movie. He rewrote that.
Oh, it is a better version. The alternate or the unrated cut is a better cut than the original.
So he executive produced the other Cloverfield movies. He got a writer credit for Deadpool 2.
Really?
He got a writer credit for The Martian.
The
he had a hand,
Doc Brown movie? Or the Matt Damon movie? Or that's my favorite
the-
Martian. Never mind.
The Matt Damon movie.
Yeah.
Whoops. My
Doc
favorite
Brown.
Martian is Doc Brown.
So he wrote and helped in The Good Place, Daredevil, The Defenders, Lost, Buffy, like
Holy
TV
shit.
show. Yeah, TV shows. Yeah.
Angel, Alias. Like he's been that guy that's kind of been in a bunch of
Murder,
shit,
She Wrote.
but has only directed one movie.
What I'm looking at his IMDb. He's got 5 credits though. He did a bunch of TV shows for The Good Place, and then 2 versions of The Cabin in the Woods, and then Bad Times at the Royale, whatever that is.
Oh, that's that movie with Chris
Bad
Hemsworth.
Times at the El Royale.
That's not a bad movie. I actually dug that movie.
So he directed that.
Yeah, I mean he's worked on a bunch of stuff that hasn't come out too. Like he was involved in the Sinister Six film. He is helping out with Project Hail Mary, which is another Andy Weir book. He's just one of those guys that's done a bunch of stuff, but he's only directed Cabin in the Woods. So it's just kind of a weird.
He's probably one of those dudes who's
Background for
happy
him.
getting paid millions to write shit.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True. But for a
Like-
first time directing of a movie, it's not too bad.
Like when you got your hands in that much of the industry, like you're making good money and you're probably just enjoying having your own office. You know, the directing is probably a much more stressful job than a writer in a lot of ways. Like the writer's job is like up until the movie's to be made. And then but then you have all those stories of asshole directors who change the scripts and yada yada yada.
I do think watching this movie though, even though he directed it, I feel like Joss did a lot of hand holding with this movie.
Well, we already know. I mean, he does that. Like, look at all the account. Like, I mean, I didn't even think of the double entendre.
There is a lot of Whedon personality in this movie, but then again, he's worked with Whedon, so
Yeah.
There's
It's
also
a
there's also a
partnership.
few people that were a part of Whedon's previous shows too.
Like who?
The stoner. The stoner is part of.
I
Whedon.
love my favorite part of the movie is that dude.
And what's her name? Shit, the main chick. That's with him at the end.
Kristen Connolly?
Dana. Is it Dana?
freakishly tall for some reason.
She's got nice eyes
Yeah.
though. She's got very nice eyes.
She's also part of Josh Whedon's.
My
Connolly.
favorite part is what's his face from
oh no, not her.
Billy Madison, the guy who gets eaten by the merman.
Yeah. He's also in Revenge of the Nerds and
And The West Wing, I think. Giovanni said that earlier.
Yes.
That's why this is the continuation. He failed. He didn't become president.
Yep.
Only
So
old
Bradley
people. Like,
Whitford.
literally, you're an old person. Do you watch Letterman before The West Wing? Is that what you do? Or after The West Wing?
No.
Fuck out of here.
So the girl that says I'm drinking just to drink, in that scene where she's like got the beers, she's also part of Angel and Buffy, the whole Joss Whedon thing.
I mean, the movie. This movie's an odd movie because the first 60% of it's rather tame. Even some of the violence you see before they get into the actual facility. I mean, you get Chris Hemsworth gets wiped out from the shield, but the majority of the violence comes in from when you get into the facility, and like, I love that part when it's just all like every like lore and story and creature and ghost and myth you can think of is in these cubes. I think the universe is amazing. It's one of those movies though that without a sequel, it's like fuck, because it does land on a rather cliffhangery.
That fucking bear trap toss though, man, is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm okay with this movie not having sequels though, because it is very it's satire. It's like a critique of like the horror genre, which is cool.
It's kind of like a critique / homage. Like you can the whole opening scene where you see every sort of 80s pop icon of horror, whether it be Hellraisers, Little Q, like there's certain things like that, and I think that's a big part of this is they're basically trying to like make it to where every monster movie you've ever seen and loved is all in the same hubbubaloo universe.
Also, the movie really points out what is it called the extremes of a horror movie, like The Virgin, The Jock. But in the movie, the characters point that out, and it does a very good job. It's one of the few that doesn't take itself too seriously, and I do like that about this movie.
It doesn't take I think its biggest asset is it doesn't take itself seriously.
Yeah.
I actually think that the three movies that we watched, this was the most serious movie out of all of them, though.
Not more than Malignant, no.
I think Malignant
was more serious?
Malignant had no comedy to it except for like one line at the very end. This was much more of a comedic. Well, that scene's hilarious in the wrong ways, but just the whole thing of like, because we gotta wait till we get into it. But the one line of like, I've been in the nesting in the bitch's attic the whole time, and in the beginning you're like, oh, he's just been in the attic, and by the end you're like, he didn't mean her house. And the whole thing is, and we'll go into it, but I don't think that movie. I think if you don't take Malignant seriously, it's a failure on the movie, because I don't think Malignant's agenda at all is to be he's trying to be a serious genre melding movie, and I think that's part of the issue. But we'll talk about that movie next. This movie was designed to be horror comedy in the vein of Evil Dead. I think is the best way to look at it. It's got the kind of same charm, the kind of you care about the characters. And I think that's the whole in vein of it. I think from the beginning it's kind of like tongue in cheek.
All right, so to revamp to what I said about this being more serious, I think as far as the horror genre, this was being more serious about. This is a horror movie, but it's got the comedy aspects of it. When we're going to talk about the other one, it's going to be something else. It's going to reference about what Giovanni had said like multiple times. I wasn't sure what it was supposed to be. That's what I'm trying to say.
This movie like had a direction it was going in. Like it's stuck in a lane.
Exactly. You knew that it was supposed to be this movie, and that's what this movie provided.
It did. I do agree with Matt though. The movie, like, I'm glad that it was just a thing in time, but even like the scene where they're in the basement and it's a path of which object they choose.
Yeah.
You see so many, and you're like, oh, I want to see that one.
It's almost like they're guiding you through like your childhood favorites, almost, where you're like, oh fuck, dude, that reminds me of this movie, and
you do want more because you're like, I want to see the movie, but they choose that device.
Well, here's the thing: is you don't do a sequel, do one in another universe, and like, you know what would be funny. It would stick with the same
over time.
But do one if they did one in the 80s. Have the original cast come back. In the 80s, they're all on cocaine and like, you know what I mean? Like, do something like that where it's technically in the universe, but not a sequel because the sequel would be a monster movie, technically.
He's still waiting to see a
like
merman.
exactly. Do throwback jokes. Take things they said in reference to like, or do one of the years when he was like, you remember when he's talking about the 1 year where they almost bit it? Show me that one.
Yeah.
Why not? It couldn't be. It would have to be titled something else, but it would have to be like, you know, the title and then Cabin in the Woods universe or some shit like that, or name the universe. You know, like that would be cool.
Being a Lovecraft guy, I do like that essentially the eldritch god that they awaken just kills everyone.
Immediate Earth destruction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although that would be also a cool. You could make a Cloverfield style movie out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Realistically, there's lots of avenues you could pursue it because it's smart in including all of those homages to the old schools, because then you can go really any route you want and you can claim legitimacy because it's like, no, we're doing throwbacks and we're doing, you know, these are some of it we're mocking, some of it we're homaging. That's how we do it.
This is also a good example of how to throw in a ton of lore with a little bit of touching on it. You know what I mean? Like they show you a little bit of this, and you're automatically, you don't ask questions. You're like, oh shit, this is what they're doing. This is what they've done for years. And then you just build the world on your own.
I mean,
it's really great that way.
Until you get to the scene where Sigourney Weaver lays it all out, you're not really 100% on what the fuck's going on yet. And that's at the end of the movie. Like, it takes to the end of the movie where she's like, you dumb shits, and like she starts explaining to him that like they're going to awaken this fucking god. And I think one of the serious overtones in it is humanity's ignorance, because in the face of earthly destruction, the stoner kid chooses one life over everybody's. And I think that's the whole, like, one of the main concepts is like, and I don't know if it was meant to be humanity's ignorance or like the power of love or whatever, but I'd have stabbed that bitch to death. I'd have been like, oh, the whole, so if I don't, I mean, there's two choices. Either I kill you or I fuck you. Choose one right now.
To die first.
Was he a virgin too?
No. He was.
They claimed he did that angered. Yeah. But the thing about it was, though, theoretically, if she wasn't a virgin, the whole thing wouldn't go off. And like, all he had to do was have sex with her to fuck over their plan, or kill her, or to do, like, he either needed to do her or sacrifice her. And I'm sorry, but if you're telling me a giant arm's gonna come out and start destroying Earth 30 seconds after, like, I don't kill you, I'm gonna throw you into that pit. Like, it's done. Bye bye. We're friends. Like, they're not even like lovers. They're just friends. Like, it'd have been like, hey, like, I don't want to do this, and I do love you, but I just want to say, push right over the fucking ledge. Like, That's all I'm saying. Hell, if I was the third guy in the room with both of them, I'd have been like, dude, I love you. You have the greatest weed. And I really wanted to and then push into the lead. Like I wouldn't have waited. Like, you guys are fun and all, but I'd like to go back home. And right now, I think I got to push you into that fiery, glowy area in order to do that. So, just gonna go ahead and
Marty would have died.
Both, unfortunately, would have been easy to sacrifice for the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on.
But he had to die first before she did.
Yeah, and that's why he had to push him in first. Fuck him.
Yeah. So according to what they said, he had to die first.
I mean,
so Marty would have died first.
If Sigourney Weaver was good at her job, she would have gunned them both down. But she's terrible.
She wouldn't have monologued.
Yeah, you got to run your mouth and prove your point, and then you've ended up fucking ruining the world, stupid.
Didn't anybody watch fucking Incredibles? Man, don't monologue.
When I was 10. I don't even know. Is that movie that... How old is Incredibles 1?
Nah, Incredibles came after this, I believe.
Did it really? No.
Early 2000s?
Yeah, no. Incredibles is an older movie than I think you think. It's an amazing movie. One of my favorite Pixar's, but...
Incredibles 2 was good, too.
It is good. 2004, that's early, man. That's like...
yeah,
because Toy Story released in what,
2000,
2001?
They should have learned from Incredibles. Don't monologue.
For real. Like, if she would have just shut up and shot them both in the head in sequential order, wouldn't have been game over. And that's one of the things that the only things that the only thing that annoys me about this movie is that, like, you're in charge of this one thing, right? It's a big task. I'll give you that. But you're in charge of it. All you have to do to make it out of here today and make sure is shoot these two people, and you don't do it right away. It would have been I'd have killed them, then monologued to their dead, lifeless bodies. As I prayed to giant God-man not to destroy us.
As it should be. You should always monologue to dead bodies.
Well, I mean, why not? I'm going to get a new GoPro. I'm going to record myself monologuing over dead bodies when I kill them.
Just because nobody's there to hear you fucking monologue.
You know, I was really tired of you weaving in and out of traffic.
Doesn't mean that nobody hears you.
Let's do final thoughts and hot dog, starting with Alejandro.
By the way, I still love fucking Mordecai and his fucking speakerphone. When he was trying to tell everybody what's going to happen.
In the beginning.
Mordecai. Oh.
No, in the middle when Mordecai, the fucking old man, the old man at the gas station.
Yeah, it's the beginning.
When he calls in and says he starts giving this whole little thing about what's going to happen. He's like, I'm on speakerphone, aren't I? That shit wasn't funny.
And that's why I say that, like, it was made much more in the, like, it's one of those movies where if you're a horror movie purist and you can't enjoy humor, and you're going to hate this movie. Because it's got a heavy humorous base to it. It's not strictly like a horror movie. This, to me, is much more of like a thriller horror comedy.
If you're a horror movie purist, you're going to love Malignant.
Yeah, you get a bunch of different types of movies in one.
I don't even know.
All right, so I'm first, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with Cabin in the Woods. I did see this. I did see this before, and it all fucking came crashing back to me when I started watching it again today for the first time, and I did watch it today. I'm gonna go with 4. I really did like it. I fucking enjoyed the shit out of this, and it wasn't like it was bad acting. There wasn't. Everybody did their fucking job. It was a fucking all around good fucking thing for me. And I don't recall at the time when I watched it seeing Thor. You know what I mean? Like as Thor, I saw him as a new fucking actor, and I really fucking liked it. And then when I saw it today for the first time again in fucking I guess like fucking what 9 years, 10 years. It all was funny. It was all funny to me again. So I really enjoyed it. So 4 for me.
Giovanni.
Fucking well, you know.
Fucking well.
I do like this movie. I like it a lot. I love that the movie plays on the stereotypes in horror movies in a really great way.
Yeah.
Again, going back to it doesn't take itself seriously. Here's the jock. Here's the virgin. Here's what's going on. There's a little bit of sci-fi the whole.
But there is lines of dialogue where they break those molds too. Like where like why is he acting this way? He's going to some
Pheromones.
yeah exactly, like, so I do like how they explain how like nobody really even fits the mold of what they're supposed to be, but they're being turned into that mold from the environment. Like that's a pretty fun line where she's like, well, isn't he studying? He's studying like biochemistry or some shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, but he's acting like a dumb jock.
And then you see a vent open and it goes.
Yeah, and then the guy's
like,
the guy's
we
weed
should
the whole
split
time
up.
is like blocking the fucking gas from killing him, which that would be me sitting there. Like we're watching Surreal Life, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know what? It's California. If I was a celeb and they allowed me to bring a stash with, like I could see myself sitting by the beautiful pool. You know, like it doesn't seem all that bad. Like I would be the guy at 3 a.m. though, just outside puffing, like by the poolside, just glass of whiskey probably. What the fuck else are you gonna do? What else are you gonna do? What else? I don't sleep now. I quit drinking how long ago?
Holy shit!
Like I don't drink anymore, so it's like, what the fuck else am I gonna do? I don't sleep much. I download Dead Rising and play it. All right, continue, Joanne.
This one's a 4 out of 5 for me as well. It hits all the strong points. It's a great movie. The acting's great, and it's one of the horror movies I like where the villain wins. The evil wins at the end. It is what it is, and it's done very well. So, 4 out of 5.
Louis.
Okay.
Same score for me, 4 out of 5. Yeah, I agree with Matt. If you're a horror purist, you might not like this, but then again, if you are, take the stick out from your ass and watch the movie, because that's the cool thing about the horror genre. There's so many subgenres, and if like, it's my same complaint with people that just go see AAA, like they just go see The Conjuring, and it's like there's so like The Conjuring is good, but if you broaden your horizons, there's so much cool shit you could be seeing.
Well, see, that was the problem I had with the movies like The Witch, which I didn't find all that great. Is it went from like a smaller movie to thrust immediately.
Is that the one with the double V's?
Yeah, and it was immediately thrown into like the mainstream, and then it was like, you know, you're hearing about it on Man-Cow AM fucking right-wing radio, and it's, Rob, I got witches in this movie, and it's just like,
Man-Cow.
I still don't understand the hype on that movie. I thought it was.
Oh, I love it.
I find that movie so slow, and I don't feel it's a horror movie. I feel it's a horror movie only in atmosphere. I don't find it to be.
It is.
There's no scariness to it. The horror in that movie is all derived from mental anxiety, because it's all
That's the cool thing to me about horror, though. It's so, like, you'll see someone come out of a movie and be like, it's not scary, and then someone will be like, yeah, it wasn't scary, but like the experience they go through, something I went through, like it's fucking terrifying.
Well, see, and that's where my mental damage comes in, because it's like those movies are designed to give you anxiety and induce certain emotions, and it's like I walk around all day with that. So, like, it doesn't heighten it for me is the problem, because I've already got that shit in the system. So, like, it is rare. I think the last movie that actually gave me anxiety was that god-awful fucking George Clooney movie. That one was the last movie to just make me feel terrible. But there hasn't been... And that's, I guess, how I ride, is, like, those type of movies can be very awesome, but they're hard for me to find them in any way scary.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's why, so when it comes to humor in horror, like, especially a movie like this, like, it really does celebrate all of the dumb tropes in horror movies. Yeah. So, and there are other movies like that. Shaun of the Dead does a really good job of making fun of the genre.
Yep.
I would say Evil Dead 2.
All the fucking records.
Oh, yeah.
Army of Darkness is probably in that trilogy the biggest.
Yeah, and these movies that I just mentioned at their core are for the horror community. It's like this is a celebration of all this fucking shit throughout the years. So yeah, definitely watch Cabin in the Woods. And if you haven't seen any of the other movies I've mentioned, especially Shaun of the Dead, Evil Dead 2,
Terrifier.
Terrifier. They're good palate cleansers to like serious horror or whatever.
Yeah.
avenues.
I
But
mean,
yeah, four out of five.
well, that's why you even like the indie movies. Like when you have a movie like You're Next, that movie has
Love Your Next.
little tiny bits
I
of
have not seen
comedy.
that fucking movie.
Well, the movie is a very straight-laced movie. It is a tension movie, and I love that movie. But it also has these little tiny moments of comedy to relieve. What horror purists don't understand is comedy is in every horror movie. Every horror movie has something because it has to alleviate it. It's just like new metal bands of the 90s. Listen to a song like Bodies by Drowning Pool. That song is made for the mosh pit. It has heavy where you hit and you jump and then you slow down to catch your breath and then it goes back to the next chorus. Movies are made the same way. Most movies have, even Hellraiser has little lines of dialogue that are designed to make you kind of like, huh, what the fuck? It's just how it is. There needs to be something to break it so it's not, the audience cannot be 100%. Movies like, well, Hereditary really didn't have any comedy. Neither did Midsommar. But those movies are different. I look at those movies as like when you watch them, you need to understand you are in for a kind of slowish journey, which I think is kind of designed to be essentially a descent into madness in his films.
Yeah.
His film's tempo, he's got a different tempo. His film's tempo is you start here, it's eerie, it's off-putting, and then it just descends into something that no average person should or would ever experience. And that's why his movies are so great, because by the end you're going, what the fuck?
I do tend to like some subgenres of horror where it's like, I'm going to watch this movie, it's just going to ruin my night. For some reason, I like some of those horror movies. But Matt, what's your? Did you?
I didn't know. Yeah, this is easy for me. I love this movie. This is one of those movies where my wife, because I fucked up and didn't realize we were reviewing this one this week. But I've seen it so many times. We're all good.
Now she's gonna beat you when you get off.
She when I said out loud "Cabin in the Woods," she goes, "Oh, I would have loved to fucking watch that." Almost like somebody's gonna take it out of our library. But she was mad because she was like, "I would have watched that," so we're gonna watch that this weekend. Easy for. I saw this in the theaters. I love this movie. I remember when it came out, it didn't get a ton of hype. The only hype around it was like that Thor guy's in it, and it's like other than that. And then you see it and you're like, okay, I'm glad he's a small part of this movie. Because he really isn't a big part. But easy 4 out of 5. With that said, we'll be right back.
All right. And the last movie for tonight is Malignant, which before we get into
you malignant. That's your problem. You just malignant.
Before we get into it, normally we'd say we're going to spoil the movie or we'd not do a real review and say go see it. Stop the podcast, go watch this movie.
This is a must.
Then
yes,
come back, listen to our opinions, and either yell at whatever device you're listening to or form your own. But I think before we jump into this movie is an important movie for horror going forward. And I'll bring up another movie during the review called The Empty Man. 2 movies that are very important for AAA horror, and I'll elaborate on that. But Malignant it came out this year, runtime of 111 minutes. Budget was $40 million, which is not cheap.
That's not small.
There,
I mean, Invisible Man was made on 9.
Surprising to me.
That's a pretty big budget considering. I mean, it's not Conjuring.
30 million and up, that's big budget.
For horror,
Box office made 24.6 million. And so this is the important part. Screenplay by Akilah Cooper. Story, not screenplay, story by James Wan, Ingrid Bisu, who is James Wan's now wife, and Akilah Cooper, and directed by James Wan. And those 3 things are very important. Because James Wan, if you look at all his movies, he's a story guy. He directs a lot of stuff, but he has a lot of hands in story. He's not specifically a writer. So when you talk about this movie, just keep that in mind. But I have a very long one-note list, and we're gonna go all back and forth. But when I finished this movie, I watched it 1.5 times, and I was trying to think of a sentence for me to describe my opinion on this movie, and you guys can tell me whether you agree with this or not. But I wrote it, and then I was like, this sounds like a fucking Rotten Tomatoes sentence. But my thought process was, and I wrote this down. So Wan's typical horror style is thrown out the window in favor for a really bizarre story and style, ignoring the conventional story beats in most horror movies. And then I put in all caps, this is exactly what horror needs. However, the genre bending rapid pace in this movie don't give it enough time to focus on anything relevant. And that's exactly how I feel about this movie. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I think it's a very important movie, though. But with that, we could jump into wherever the fuck you guys want to start.
It's
Actually, can I
dig
start
Wan's.
with one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I start with an opening line in the beginning? It's just really funny. So there's the opening scene, the doctor. Like it's shot really, really nice.
James Wan's style is a really cool art. I mean, have you seen the movie Upgrade?
Yeah.
This movie had much more of the
Yes.
visual style of Upgrade than anything he's done.
So
Okay.
we'll all jump in back and forth between cons and pros, but in the opening scene, it's fucking shot beautifully. It looks very AAA. It follows the doctors. They're frantically going to check out what's going on with this patient. They go in. The patient's behind like this shrouded cover, and then you start hearing this weird talking through the radio.
Yeah.
And they all hear it. Us as the audience, we see it, we hear it, we know what's going on. And then this doctor off to the side says, he's communicating through the radio. And I was just like, what the fuck?
The fuck are you?
Well, they never really explain him being able to communicate through the radio waves either.
No, but we
I don't like
and
that.
We see that they clearly get
Yeah.
it. And then he says that line,
Yeah.
and it's like...
Thank
it's
you,
like,
Captain Obvious.
It's like, why?
You're a
Why
doctor, right?
did you do that?
Yeah.
That whole beginning with we cut out the cancer.
Yeah.
That whole weird.
I think what it is all the actors at the very beginning are fucking horrendous. And that's where it's like, what the fuck's going on?
So that's where we're all going to have differing opinions.
I thought the acting was pretty decent, actually.
it was okay.
No,
I thought it was bad.
It was
I
very
thought-
bad. At the
well,
beginning, it was very
Yeah,
bad.
you know what? It actually did remind me of. I can't remember the name of it, but there was a German thriller horror movie that dude from Walking Dead did. Norman Reedus. He speaks German, by the way.
Okay.
And it was a very cheesy, like, because the beginning when it's filmed, especially, I remember looking over at Jen and being like, why do they all have weird facial expressions? Like, they all kind of do have a weird facial
They
expression
weren't
on
speaking
them.
the same language.
I guess. I don't know. I think
might have been.
I think the biggest problem though in this movie is Lewis said rapid paced genre bending, and I think that's too eloquently put. I'd call it putting together 7 films in one. I mean, it goes literally, you can follow the spectrum of Conjuring-esque ghost movie to industrial style revenge flick to V for fucking Vendetta to weird gross out type of shit you only see on Shudder to it's I mean, and then you throw in weird domestic violence issues just for some salt. It's a weird mix of a movie. I mean, there's the one scene in particular where literally it's the scene that goes from haunted house movie to Saw with the spinning camera and the music, which I like the scene, but the problem is you are literally like you're at a carnival. And you get on that one that's the ship that just rocks back and forth, right?
Well,
and then every time it comes back up to the crevice, you're now on a different fucking ride. You're like, how did I get on the fucking Ferris wheel? I was just on the boat. That's what this movie is.
Wasn't the entire police station fucking entire saw room though? The
It
ground.
It was.
Yeah,
Every time I
basically.
saw it,
Like the
I was
set
like-
of
I
Saw.
was like, what kind of fucking police station has dirty fucking tiles when you walk
Lewis,
in there?
what is your favorite part in that police station scene again?
Oh, dude, the whipping of the fucking.
So wait a
chair.
second. You're
I got-
talking.
I got
Wait. Are you referencing?
I did laugh.
Are you
I
guys
did laugh.
referencing this whipping of the chair scene? And we're back. I'm gonna put a clip up there.
Yes, thank you. So the two of the great or couple of the greatest things happening in my life this year. My son's gonna be 2. I watched.
He's almost out of the house, right? That little fucker.
Yeah, I watched a movie called Nobody where someone got a chair thrown at him, and then I watched a movie called Malignant where a chair got fucking lassoed
Across the gut. How is he so strong? Across the room, he whips. He Waffle Houses that fucking chair, and it's just beautiful.
And the arms are behind them though, but so it was kind of weird because they were kind of like weird, like fucking.
Yeah, and they don't explain the amount of strength he has either. Now, I have to ask: was he dormant until her head was slammed? Because but before that, he was haunting her. Was that just all in her head then?
No.
So
it was closed up until
he was dormant, but he also was eating her pregnancies, which is why.
But she was still feeling haunted before that. Before she takes the head hit, there was still some weirdness, which I think was supposed to be him fucking with her mind, because later on he can make an illusion in her brain of anything. So I think the whole time he's been in her life fucking with her. And then once she gets her head, the domestic violence, I understand you're using that as a vehicle, but why do we have to have that as the vehicle? Like, why does it have?
It was awkwardly.
Like, why does it have to? Oh, he's he's the evil male. Like, we don't need it. Like,
broke her skull open.
Yeah, and he slams her head into the back of the wall, and that's when the skull fractures to the point where. And then throughout the movie, she's like, I'm sorry, but if I for one thing, you don't take a nap with a concussion. Very stupid. Secondly, if I woke up and my pillow was a giant blood spot, I may go see a doctor. Just saying.
Can we talk about the square footage on that house that seems like the TARDIS?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Why did they live in a mansion with 2 of them?
Huge.
With that said, one of the coolest scenes I've ever seen filmed was when the back door pops open and top-down sim style, it goes through the whole house. Yeah. That was actually pretty cool.
That's the thing is James Wan has an incredible style in his filming, and I would argue if he would have taken this as a progressive anthology movie, where the first episode is the ghost, the second episode is the first chapter of the revenge, the third episode is the explains the surgery and how he actually is and what it actually is. If he would have structured it like that, where like instead of just making the movie constant, all he had to do was do episode 3, the attic, and you could have fixed all of the continuity errors.
I agree with that because if you break it up into episodes, it gives you a chance to. The problem with this movie is there's so many genres that you don't get to feel something and if you break it into pieces, you can go through those genres and it becomes cooler because you're essentially watching the thing be new again each time.
You're taking the same story, but you're bringing it into an entirely different genre. And the thing about this movie is, you're right. There is no time to take a breath and go, okay, now it's going to be more of a creature film. It is literally just bing, bang, boom. Guess what? Now you're in this genre. Guess what? He's fucking V for Vendetta. Guess what? Now he's a creature stuck to the back of her. Guess what? Now we're doing a flashback scene to where it all originated. Had they broken it up episodically, even in one film, just make the story like they did that. You guys remember the movie The Signal? It was You Got the Crazy? That movie was 3 directors did that movie, 3 distinct short films. The first one is a horror. The second is a very dark black comedy. The third one is back to a thriller horror. If they would have done something like that, keeping, even if same director, same everything, all cohesive, but giving the audience a chance to be like, oh, what is this chapter's theme? Like, you could have done it like that.
That's a very underrated movie. If anyone is looking for a good movie, The Signal is good.
It's awesome.
Did you guys like, love, or hate the score / soundtrack for this movie? Because
I'm glad you brought that up.
Hated it.
Let's talk about the music. I will say, if you ever watch, and I'll bring up a big movie that everybody knows.
Clifford.
If you ever watch, for example, The Avengers. Everybody's seen The Avengers.
Not me. I no Disney in my house.
Take the music, the epic music of the Avengers and the epic scenes, pull them out, and then put them in the scenes after where they're just talking to each other. Do that. And I'm like,
So you're
so my wife, I'm explaining this to my wife. She's like, well, what is it? I don't understand. What do you mean? I was like, let me put it extremes for you. Take the Avengers theme song and put it to Little House on the Prairie.
you're saying the composer's kind of retarded.
No, well, I mean, here's the thing.
There was.
Here's the thing, though. It just like the rest of the movie, it goes from haunted house score to, and I like this because I am an old school Rammstein, KMFDM, stabbing westward. The scene where it's going in a circle and it's the industrial kind of like where you're hearing like you guys remember the band, the guy from Five Finger Death Punch's first band, Moto Grader. Where they literally had this big gear machine that they used as an instrument, and you're hearing it. And I literally got to that scene, and the part of me that's reviewing the movie had an instant, what the fuck? Like, there was part of me where I'm like, did you hit next movie by accident? What the fuck just happened? But part of me was also kind of like, I liked it. It doesn't fit, but I liked it. I don't know.
I would be fine with that, but the Pixies "Where Is My Mind" score thing was cringy as fuck.
I like the industrial music, but then they started to add like some of the. I didn't love the score universally. I did like when he went and did more of a Death Sentence score, because Death Sentence's score was a lot like that, and he directed that too.
Is there? I want to see if you come up with the answer I have. But is there anyone in the movie that you felt was really out of place, like a specific character?
Besides the boyfriend at the beginning?
Sister Sydney and Cacao, whatever his name is. Cacao.
The main officer was out of place.
Oh, Wanda Sykes, you mean? Wanda Sykes?
No. What did you think of the CSI girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought she should have been in Doctor Who.
Did she seem like she just didn't?
She auditioned for a different movie.
She should have been in Doctor Who because she played a character in Doctor Who.
Someone made the jump from porno to films a little too quickly.
So take a guess who she's married to.
James Wan?
Yes.
Is that her?
And she had a hand in helping develop the story.
So what you're saying is she's the Yoko Ono of horror movies.
And when I say that, she probably walked up to him one night while he was working on the script and was like, "It would be cool if this happened," because her acting was so bad, and the acting in this movie is bad.
Yeah,
her acting was so bad to the point where you're like, "Why is she in this scene? Like, why?"
Yeah. Like, I mean, I felt virtually every character who wasn't her or the creature was fundamentally useless in the movie.
Yeah,
like most extra like look at her abusive husband. He's literally only in the movie to be horribly destroyed by the creature. That's his sole purpose for existing, which would be okay, but the movie doesn't have much of a supporting cast, especially not well acting.
Because I've seen him in other shit, and he's not a horrible actor.
To Alex's, Anthony's, and Matt's point, bad acting in the beginning. I think throughout the movie there's a sprinkle of bad and good, and I think that's part of the problem.
You do get there's a couple characters where you're like, that guy's not bad, and then the next line you're like, never mind, he fucking sucks.
Yeah. And also the way this movie is filmed, to the point of the script writing, I feel like when I was watching it, I was like, did he to the point of the girl making suggestions, was he filming and they were like, hey, you should do this? And then they were like, oh, that's a good idea. Let's throw that in there.
I feel like he was making another movie that was going to be kind of along the lines of Saw as far as atmosphere. And they jumped in and were like, this feels too much like Saw to me. Like, this is too much like this. Are you sure you want to go this route? And how about we have a strong, female, detective in here to be the counterpoint? And it's like, in a movie where the villain, spoiler alert, is stuck to her goddamn back and is inside her skull, why do we need detectives of any kind? Why are the police involved at all? It's literally someone who is her fucking basically her a surviving aborted twin, who just happened to be underdeveloped, who can speak through the radio waves somehow.
He's not aborted.
Well, they did
He
punch him
was-
back into the back of her skull.
He's a
But
he's
no,
a
no,
failed
well,
abortion.
He's a
no,
failed abortion.
But, no, but that was after he was born.
Was he born though? He wasn't born.
Yes.
She was born.
Yes. No.
He's
She
a
was born with
parasite.
him- No,
He
she
wasn't-
was born
it
with
was
him on the back of her head.
He's technically considered a parasitic twin.
Yeah.
Yes. So he wasn't aborted as far as gestation or whatever.
Oh, so what would you call them breaking her skull and shoving and murdering him essentially and shoving him back in?
He was a conjoined twin that was parasitic like.
So what would you? But that's not answering the question. The counterpoint to us saying he was basically an aborted creature, you're saying he's not. What is he then?
She was like 7 or 8 years old when they finally decided to cut him out. So it's not aborted.
I don't know. I think you're playing with fine hairs.
Separation. It was just a separation of
I don't know why you get so serious with that because I mean, he looks like a goddamn aborted fetus for fuck's sake.
Abortion is.
I know what abortion is, Alex.
Yeah,
it's an
yeah.
exaggeration. Jesus Christ. All night. Just right through him. Just steamrolling.
I did take it as they were essentially ending his life and just kind of pushing the recess back into her.
Shoving him definitely in the back of the butt. Like see, part of me wanted to read into it deeply, but part of me feels like, is there any depth to this movie? Like, part of me wants to go like they're shoving him into the dark corner, but there is no real. Like, maybe that's one of the problems of this movie is there is real no soul to this movie. There's no moral compass. There's no
makes sense about that part.
There's nothing that normal people would ever do in the movie. It's a very weird. It's almost like you have to look at this movie like The Cube. Like it's its own weird entity.
Yeah, and that's why like double-edged sword. Like, who the fuck is this movie for? Other than someone
schizophrenic
who's a diehard James Wan fan. This movie's not marketable to anyone.
I didn't hate it. I mean, because the problem is even when it starts to get like, for instance, it starts to become a stalker revenge movie, and then you get to the police station, and they finally reveal what's actually going on, but then she turns into essentially V from V for Vendetta, where he's running through the police station violently with above human strength, ripping them apart. And those things are never, the logic is never made whole. There's never anything that says the brain, the way he controls the brain, he feels no pain, he blah, blah, blah. It's not technically his limbs, so he can use them to extraordinary, but there's never anything in there to explain why he can Waffle House that chair 30 feet.
They show two views. They show two views too. One where all the police are dead inside the cell, and the cop is sitting there saying, "Hey, what are you doing?"
And she's just sitting there.
And then the other view is she actually killed everybody outside that. So it's like, what the hell happened? Like,
Now,
where did the transition happen?
That is one of the, I guess one of the best things you can say is this movie does not know how to transition from one scene to another at all.
No, it does not.
One genre to another.
It can't even.
Which is surprising for James Wan, because the other stuff that we've seen of him.
To this movie's credit, for a couple definitely really good things it does, is one, if you're a James Wan fan, this is a swan song of, like, you're getting all his movies. So if you're a diehard fan, like, you're getting a weird experiment of all his films. And two, the reason why I brought up The Empty Man earlier, which I know you guys haven't seen it. So The Empty Man, it's the last movie to feature the 20th Century Fox logo, since that's gone. But The Empty Man was a movie that a studio gave a guy who did nothing a fuck ton of money. I think it was like $30
Who was in this
million.
movie? I feel like the name is familiar.
The name is familiar because it because of the merger, it just got shelved, and eventually the studios just fucking farted out. But they gave this director a fuck ton of money. The studio didn't meddle at all. They're like, just make your movie. Here's AAA money. And he made a horror movie. And then the dichotomy of he was a nobody, and then you have this movie where they're like, James Wan, here's 40 million, just make a movie.
Was this
And,
movie
like,
any good? Because I have looked at this movie and never watched it. It's on Hulu, by the way.
it's interesting, but it's just crazy that this is two instances where studio said, we're not gonna tell you what to do, just do your thing. But the reason that these two movies are important is because stuff like this doesn't happen. Like, it's very rare.
Well, I think this movie is a byproduct of James Wan's inability to do what he wants, being locked into things like the Conjuring universe, being locked into Fast and the Furious movie. I think that's one of the things is he probably had... The guy's probably got a bunch of different ideas in his head, and he finally is like, hey, you can make a movie that's yours. You don't have to follow this universe. You don't have to make it this type of movie. Do what you want. And Netflix is basically like, he prints money. Any movie that look at the he turned a mainstream horror movie that should have never made the money it did into a not only trilogy but a universe that is still making cash hands over fist. So they go, fuck it, anything this guy pumps out is gonna do well. And a lot of people probably watch this movie on Netflix. So I think this movie is a culmination of him just kind of at night while he's filming these other movies and stuff like that, at night going, writing these ideas and these stories and, oh, this would be cool. And I think, unfortunately, he, rather than giving a movie or a cohesive, he should have made this either several movies or episodic. And unfortunately, this movie does feel very much like it's just kind of like barfed at you. It's just like, rather than kind of giving you it in the proper timing, it's like, haha, revenge movie. You thought it was a revenge movie? Not at all. Creature film. You thought it was a creature film? Back to Ghost Story. Like, there's just like a dude in the corner who's like, haha, got you again, motherfucker. This is now about this. Superhuman Strength V for Vendetta time. And it's just like, I get it, but in the same token, can we stop doing the cocaine for 2 minutes so we can get the story a little bit more cohesive? Like, no problem. I get it. You love shrooms. Don't we all have fun? But can we not take the different notebooks you have and put them into one movie? Just do one notebook of notes. That's all I ask. Yeah, like, and then, like, maybe that's what it was. Is like he had a big pile of Dunder Mifflin 8x10s of just different stories, and his wife cleaned and accidentally knocked them over one day, and they all got shuffled. And he's like, oh, like, I guess I'm making a Ghost Revenge V for Vendetta creature movie this time. Like, if
this movie was broken up, like Matt said, or maybe in 2 movies, or even, I feel like if this movie was a 10-episode series, it probably would have done more sense.
You can have the genre bending.
Those 2 hours could have been stretched out
if,
to 10 hours. If
it wasn't just the genre, too. Like, he bends everything. Like, it's literally different genre, different score, different style of this. The one thing that is consistent is his artistic eye. The filters he uses, that's consistent. That is clear. He has a really good eye. It is James Wan. When you watch this movie, like the scenes that are outside when he's panning the sky, it's very James Wan. And if you're a fan of his, it's definitely worth it. But it's just hard. Like, I personally will recommend this movie in the end. It's a movie you should definitely watch, but you have to, I think, going in knowing what you're getting will do you more of a service than not. Like, if you hear this and then you decide to watch the movie, I think you'll be better off knowing that you're walking into a shotgun blast of genres instead of being like, I'm assuming the marketing thought, like, let's not give anything away in the trailer and it's going to totally surprise people. And it did, but it also throws them off because they haven't even started drinking their wine and they're already tripping balls by watching it. So they're kind of like, what the fuck is happening?
It's either that, or for once in a lifetime, the marketing team was stumped and they're like, we don't know what to do. We're just gonna use the house scene over and over.
Well,
if you watch the trailer,
it
looks like a ghost movie.
It's a Conjuring universe movie.
Yeah.
And like, but and here's the thing is, I really like his style. Upgrade's a big, I really do like that movie. So like, I enjoy his weird industrialized parts of the soundtrack. I enjoyed the weird saw camera spinning. Those things, for me, were really awesome. It's just, when you're watching it, you want a movie to make you go, what the fuck? But you don't want it to go, you don't want to be saying that for the wrong reasons. And I think parts of this movie you're going, what the fuck? Out of simply not understanding where they're going with the movie, which you want to keep your audience kind of guessing in this realm, but you don't want to have them guess of like, is the next part going to be goofy, or like is a unicorn zombie popping out? Like, you want to at least let them know the tempo of the movie they're in. And this movie doesn't do that at all.
That's why the beginning scene is funny to me, because it does the hand holding, like it makes the audience feel stupid in that first scene, and then you get to like 20 minutes in, the movie's like, I made you feel stupid, now try to keep up, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And it just starts running.
Yeah, it's literally like
the
stepfather is taking the punk teenager out, and he's like, oh, you thought that was the hike, and he climbs up a fucking mountain, and you're just like, this game is literally like playing Donkey Kong, where you go from frozen to tropical to this. It is, yeah. You are going through a biome of movies in this. Like, the only genre not in this is comedy, really. And the reason why comedy's not in this movie is because you're too busy going, what the fuck, to even pay attention. Like, when you're not laughing at the Waffle House chair throw, or you're not laughing at the fact that this creature comes out of the back of her skull. And like, literally, the movie, the one thing that really bugged me was her waking up with bloodstains on her pillows and basically being like, like, what? You were just pregnant, and he slams your head into the wall. You wake up 3 nights in a row and you're like, pillow's bloody again. Should probably clean that pillowcase.
Even the sister points it out. There's blood on your pillow.
And you just, no, my doctor's, with COVID, it's hard to get an appointment. Bitch, you're bleeding constantly. Go to the doctor.
What that got me was spoiler alert. Near the end, he flips a engine or a motor weighted medical bag.
How is he so strong?
With one hand. That's an issue in itself.
How is he?
Like, he's over there. Like, I understand he's got like
It's the inverted fucking thing.
Well, he's got like the Jamiroquai hands and shit, and I get it, but like, why is he so strong?
My thing, there were several points in the movie where I'm like, okay. Where I completely fucking lost it, and I had to pause the movie because I was laughing so hard, is the prison. No, the prison fight scene.
Okay.
The choreography, to its credit,
in the jail,
fucking top notch.
Well, not only that, but
I really enjoyed it.
You could also tell where they used CG, but it's pretty seamless. Like, every time it looks like it doesn't have bones, that's all CG. But they do it really well. Like, there was no, like, you could tell it had a budget.
And that's the thing about this movie, is you can love it.
That's where they spent the budget.
You'd be a fucking liar if you said this movie doesn't look good.
Correct.
That whole scene,
it does look good.
It looks money.
My favorite, all top favorite is the fight scene at the prison.
Dude, I almost pissed myself laughing. It turned into Fast and Furious. Like,
it really does.
The part that got me was near the end again, where he's away, she's locked away in the mine, and she's like, she looks at her stepsister, and she's like, I have superpowers now.
I was really hoping for like a part in the movie where she starts to rip him out of her. Like, that was one trope I really was hoping that they were gonna go to, where like she kind of gains control and ends up like literally like ripping her
back of her head.
Yeah, dude. Like, and even if she dies in the end of the movie, like, let her rip him out, and then like the rest of then the movie ends where she's paralyzed, but she no longer has this thing attached to her.
Well, like, I mean, there could be a potential sequel, and as wacky as this movie is, sure, give it to me.
I'll watch it. I mean, it's weird to say that you like this movie, because it's hard to like this movie, but I like this movie. I don't throw it in my top anything, but I'd say it's 100% worth the watch.
I did find it like reminiscent of Tenet. What is it?
The Nolan movie?
Yeah, the whole backwards running thing. And I was like, holy shit, this is like fucking, Tenet. I thought that was kind of cool. Put it to good use.
Because both movies are shit. No,
put it to good use. At least one you can hear from.
Yeah. Hey, welcome.
Point.
Well, literally, yeah. I still can't. I can't get over the fact that you're hearing wind in that movie over voices. It's like, fuck. I know we're in a wind tunnel, but for fuck's sake.
But I did find that pretty cool about the whole villain thing. You know, like how the arms are backwards and the legs.
It was really weird that
how
Glenn Close is the villain too.
Yeah.
Who does the voice? Because I thought the voice was kind of cool. I also would really love it to be explained to me how he communicates through the radio waves. Like that adds a whole psychic element to it.
Yeah. Did he ever explain where the electric psychic overpower ability comes from?
But they never say who she was raped by. They say she was raped, but they never say who she was raped by. So maybe it was some kind of alien type.
But
Did
the
he have a
fact
kryptonite dick? I don't understand.
It's all up to your imagination, I guess.
But that's bad filmmaking, not explaining where at least that came from.
Exactly. So you have to figure out how it's supposed to. You have to draw it up, you know.
Yeah, I should on something like that. I shouldn't have to draw the conclusion, and I shouldn't have to explain it to myself with, "Oh, they were doing experiments on him." Like that's such a lazy way to explain. It's a plot hole is the problem. It's a big fucking plot hole. Because that opens, if they would have explained it, that does open the realm of like there's a psychic power. You can run into telekinesis. By the end of let's say they make 3 of these movies, you can turn it into the end like Chronicle, where it's got superpowers by the end of it, and there's the human limits are gone. Like, but it's left so unexplained. You're left with Waffle House chair throw, and that's it.
I love this.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Final thoughts.
So this is a super villain origin story for me. And I was excited going into it. I did like the movie. I would recommend going to watch it. It's awkward, I will tell you that. But
watch it with your significant other, especially if they don't like horror movies at all. Yep. They'll be confused at fuck what your taste is completely. They'll be like, I thought I knew you, but we watched Malignant, and I think you might be a fucking psychopath. They don't know.
In the 4 movies, in this one movie, I would have liked to see the first movie, the ghost in the house, the spirit. That would have been awesome.
They do set it up really well too.
That's a good question for everyone. Out of all the genres in this movie, when you go around, tell me the movie you actually wanted to see.
The ghost house one for me.
I'll tell you 2 things because one of them doesn't actually exist. The ghost movie was pretty cool, especially when he kills the husband in the beginning. That was solid. I honestly want to see the revenge. I want to see this movie disassociated from the fact that he was attached to her the whole time. I want to see the movie of the vigilante murderer ripping through police stations as an industrial action horror movie in its own entity. I want that sort of character that is super strong, like Giovanni said, the origin of a super villain. I want just that movie with the weird camera angles and the cool soundtrack and the hyper violence. The ghost movie would be cool, but there's 3 fucking Conjurings. I want the industrial slaughter movie. I want Upgrade, but horror and violent. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a huge Death Sentence. I want like this movie. Some of the scenes felt like Death Sentence. It's one of those things where because if you're a Wan fan, you're gonna be like, oh, that's that style. That's he's kind of drawing this from that movie. If you're an average moviegoer, you're gonna be like, why did I smoke crack? What happened? Like, I literally took a piss. Did I walk into the wrong fucking theater? Like, if I went to the bathroom mid-movie, I'd have to check to see what fucking theater I'm in. Like, that character looks familiar, but since when is he attached to the broad? What happened? Like, it's a weird movie. All right. Giovanni? You didn't, no, he did not give. You give your hot dogs, Giovanni.
This is a difficult one for me. I'm gonna put this in the middle of the road at 3.5.
That's not middle. That's like the 80 percentile.
A lot higher than middle.
He went to Chicago public school.
2.5.
Up or down.
2.5 would be middle. It's out of 5.
Oh, it is out of 5. 2.5.
Oh, so he changes it.
Well, I did say middle of the road. I don't know why I thought out of 6. Listen, this is 2:30 in the morning. Okay, we're talking about 4 movies in one right now.
It's 2:30 in the morning. He's got to take a shit. He's also kind of hungry. This movie's a psychopathic movie.
He just wants some chips.
2.5 out of.
He just wants his new phone to arrive. He's waiting for the incoming argument. Alex.
$14 saved. Remember that.
Each month, if you're watching this, he's saving you $14 a month. Do you not understand that that's literally $164 a year?
So I was thinking I was gonna give it like one hot dog. I was
Wow.
like maybe 2 hot dogs.
Maybe 7.
Then I was like maybe 3 hot dogs because I wasn't sure what fucking movie I was watching. I was like maybe 4 hot dogs. And I was like, fuck, man, I can't fucking figure this shit out. Dude, I fucking could not figure this movie out, and it took me 4 days to watch this movie. I'm gonna go with two fucking hot dogs for this.
Okay.
This movie really confused the shit out of me. It started out kind of funny, and then I saw fucking the detective trying to get laid, and then I saw Wanda Sykes popping out of nowhere.
Wanda
was
Sykes
really
is
trying
not
to
in this
figure
movie.
Isn't that the partner?
No. I don't believe
Oh,
Wanda
shit.
Sykes is in this
That
movie.
is not Wanda
Very
Sykes.
close.
Not
Because
every
she
black
sound-
lady is Wanda
she
Sykes,
sound-
Alex.
Okay, then
They all
maybe
look
she was
alike
the
to you,
wish-
don't they,
maybe She was the
racist?
wish. Maybe she was the wish fucking list.
That was Jonda
God
Sykes.
damn it!
Yeah, Jawanda Mikes.
Because her attitude was everything that Wanda Sykes should have been. So maybe she should have been in this movie.
I don't know.
Because
I don't.
that whole character.
Something
that
tells
whole
me
character-
Wanda Sykes would not have added to this movie, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. No, but that whole character, I felt like they were trying to like emulate something.
Yeah,
It
you know,
makes
it,
sense to
it
me.
did remind me a little bit of the game Deadly Premonition in that regard, where it's just like weirdly, overly cheesy
They
side characters.
They were
This
trying to
movie.
emulate all these
Yep.
characters, and I didn't like that part about it. So that's why I'm saying I'm gonna go with 2, man.
It's also like it's almost like this Sega tried to make an American like horror movie. You know, like it's still got that weird Sega Japanese jank to it. You know, it's got the weirdness.
Yeah.
Lewis,
But I did enjoy the movie though. I honest God, I did
it is.
enjoy it.
It's one of those weird movies where like
Yeah.
you only know like you. So for me, I didn't know if I liked it at all until after you watch it and you think about it. Like it's one of those movies you kind of have to let simmer, and then even then it's like, oh yeah, I think I liked it, you know. But then it's like Waffle House chair throw. And then it's like, you know, and then I've seen like the movies like Tusk and Teeth. It borders that sort of kind of weird genre too, which throws into it. I will be honest though, I'm gonna give this a 3. If it's my score is higher than your guys, probably simply because, especially on this show, we run our mouths about you don't see new shit anymore. And while what the movie falls flat, I think overall because it's just too much, you got to give credit to essentially the biggest as far as budget and box office gross right now, the biggest horror movie franchise director, story guy, whatever. You got to give the guy credit for going, you know what? I'm not going to do anything you think I'm going to do. I'm going to make the movie I want to make as weird and convoluted as it is. It's going to be my style. It's going to have a high budget. And if you don't like it, maybe one of the 7 genres wasn't for you. But like, I got to give him at least enough credit to go, fuck it, dude. I'm
Pick a
going
genre.
to take a mainstream movie and make it feel like it was never meant for mainstream. And I think that's what this movie is.
So what'd you get it? 3?
I give it a 3, yeah.
All right. Man, we're gonna be different scores on all of these. I'm gonna go with a 3.5. I don't think this movie is amazing. I don't think it's terrible. I think it's an interesting experiment.
Yeah.
I cannot recommend this movie because there's no market for this movie unless you're a huge James Wan fan. But I believe that if you like horror, if you are very open to the genres and appreciative horror, I think this is going to be a movie in horror history that it's going to be like, you have to see Malignant.
Yeah, it's one of those
Like,
ones
oh,
where
you-
like you got to give your friends who don't know
Like the
the like
cat- the cat's
look
out.
look straight
Yeah.
up. You may not like it, but it's fucking weird and you should check it out.
Yeah,
Like it's
you
one of
need-
those like
yeah, you
I'm
need
not
to
saying
watch
it's amazing. I'm just saying you need to watch it and decide for yourself because it's weird as fuck.
And another thing that this movie does, which leads back to the Empty Man, is it's essentially a it's pointing the finger at the studios because it's like, hey, big budget directors can do like cool out of the box shit too. Like James Wan has enough clout that this movie will be a cult classic. I mean, and that's why I believe this is going to be a movie where like you're going to have a friend who hasn't seen it, they say they love horror, and you're going to be like, dude, you got to watch this movie and let me know what you think about it. And I think just off that alone,
Whether they fucking like it or love it, they're
yeah.
gonna be like, holy shit, that was different.
They're gonna text you and be like, "What the fuck was that, bro?"
And if you want any more proof than that, look at 4 people standing in front of you who love horror and all have different opinions on it. Like, if a movie does that, that's pretty fucking important. So, even if you don't want to watch this movie, if you're not a Wan fan, if everything we said sounds goofy, if you like horror, you need to watch this movie.
I'd also argue when it comes to these HBO Max movies, if you're at all a fan of these things coming to VOD at the same time as theater releases, you really absolutely need to watch it in that first month.
Yeah.
You need to give them the clicks, you need to give them the views, because not only is it's going to stop soon, these releases, but the problem is if you don't support this sort of type of content, it becomes that idea of like, oh, I don't want to go back to the movies. Well, you shouldn't have shit on everything that came to direct to the VOD then. Right. Much like everything in this industry, the music, any entertainment industry, it's the audience's fault for the majority of it when things don't get expanded on, they don't get sequels, they don't get extra seasons. There is studio meddling. Fox is a big one. I'm talking about Firefly cocksuckers. But for the most part, audiences are to blame for dismal performances. So, and I think that's something that's never talked about. And I'm not talking about the theater. The theater is a shithole. The theater has now become something that only houses blockbuster movies that have a $300 million budget. The theater is nothing but the Avengers vehicle to fucking pump out new Disney movies every year. I'm talking, if this isn't on HBO, you catch it, then fucking rent it. You catch it on sale, buy it, give it a shot. You may not like it. You may not love it, but these movies won't be made without any sort of support. That's why we advocate all of the HBO Max movies. If you like them, after they're on HBO Max for that month, buy them. Simple as that. Otherwise, the well's going to dry up, and you're going to be back to the only mainstream horror you're going to see is the next Conjuring universe, or the next Final Destination, or the next fucking Scream movie. The well is drying up for mainstream horror. So like it or love this movie, support it. Let them know that, yes, James Wan can make a weird fucking off-the-wall movie and still garner the audience. Because if you don't, he's back to doing safe shit. And I don't want safe James Wan movies. I don't want safe movies of any kind. I want movies that are risky, that make you have a review like we've had here where we go, I don't know, I was taking a shit and I came back and the movie was 3 shades different. I don't know what the fuck happened. You kind of want that a little.
All that's missing right now is some fucking music rate behind you.
Oh, well, we'll just have we'll have some James Wan industrialized music.
My friends are dread. No.
Movies like this will open up to new ideas.
Yeah, you're gonna have somebody steal this concept.
I hope it does, because I didn't hate the movie. That's not the reason why I gave it a 2. I didn't hate the movie.
Well, it's convoluted as fuck. It deserves lower ratings.
It was just.
I also do feel
weird.
If James Wan would have given up some control, if he would have given up some control and said, you know what, I'm going to direct the first episode. I'm going to have 5 different directors come in here. It's going to be my story. I wrote it. You're going to direct you're going to direct it in your style. I think this movie would have been wildly more successful. If you did it as an anthology with different directors, I think this movie would potentially be looked at as a new classic. Simply because it has all the parts, but you didn't put in the flour at the right time. It boiled over your pancake fucking molds, and you got goo all over your oven.
It's a fucking paragraph with no periods.
Yeah, it's a run-on sentence, you're right.
You said something that makes you want to rewatch this again, and you said it's like Deadly Premonition, and that's fucking spot on.
Yeah, with all of the stiff, robotic acting, and yeah.
This is the Deadly Premonition of horror movies.
It's an anomaly. Has everyone given their hot dogs? We're all good, right?
Yeah.
All right, guys.
What did we have? 2.5.
3 on here.
No, yeah, 2.5, 2, 3, and 3.5.
We went up the scale. Before we actually wrap up, real quick, what are you guys watching? We'll start with Lewis.
I don't want to do horror. I don't want to say horror stuff because that's all I ever watch.
Halloween. I've watched Halloween 6 times.
Yeah. No, I actually, fuck it. I'm running through all of the Michael Myers Halloweens up until the new film. But other than horror, we've restarted The Office. We've been looking for a serious show, so we want to get into Vikings because my wife is.
Vikings is good. It does slow down around season 3 quite a bit. When the one woman comes in that he has Ivar the Boneless with, it slows down pretty heavily and then kind of picks up in season 4 again. I'd recommend if you haven't watched Rescue Me, I can't recommend that enough.
It's so good.
On Hulu?
Hulu, yeah.
Oh, streaming. Yep. Yeah. Other than that, we're in the same boat as Matt, where we have our funny show going on in rotation. We're trying to find another serious show to get into.
One show I would love to get into with my wife, but I don't know if she would enjoy it at all. Is Burn Notice. I think that's going to be
God, I want to start that again.
I think that's going. It's on. I believe it was on Amazon Prime. It's either on Prime or Hulu. One of those two, maybe both even. I love that show, but I think it's going to have to be my guilty pleasure show of just like, there's no lights on. I'm going to watch Burn Notice.
I did also restart Dexter, so I'm going to do that as well.
I cannot wait for that revival they got coming. I got Showtime too. I didn't even know I had it. Tim signed up for it. So we have Showtime. Really? How far did you get?
Yeah. I think I have like 2 seasons.
Season 3 with John Lithgow is one of my favorite.
Yeah.
He's such a good psychopath in that show.
I really liked it, yeah.
What are you watching right now, Alex?
For me, I've been doing Fear of the Walking Dead and I've also been doing what's that, DC Legends? And then I've been watching Schitt's Creek with my family.
That's a good
So I'm gonna watch Schitt's Creek since you guys agree it's good. You guys,
it's funny.
You guys need to check out Letterkenny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on Hulu.
I've been meaning to check that one.
Letterkenny is a show that will grip you in because of just how goofy fun it is. The whole show, what makes it is the funny lines of dialogue and the characters. Yeah. That is a show that you need to start, and you will thank me when you're 3 seasons in the next day. Giovanni, or I'm sorry, Alex, were you done?
Yeah.
Giovanni, what are you watching right now?
My wife right now, we're going through Criminal Minds. We love that show.
Oh, my daughter's been doing. Lindsay's been doing.
I saw that. Yeah.
Sounds like
Lindsay's
he didn't get
a
fair shake. Literally was murdered with a salt shaker pressed into his eye. It's like, what the fuck just happened?
And then I'm going through. I'm on the 4th season of Peaky Blinders for the 2nd time. I love that show.
That is the show that I just told my wife we should start for our serious show. Because I watched, I came across it on Netflix and I'm like, man, I really want to watch this fucking show. And I have this problem where I will start movies and within 3 minutes know that my wife would dig it. And I'm like, I'll watch it with her. And I cut it out.
Have you ever watched the IT Crowd or no?
Yes.
I love the IT Crowd.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
It's really good.
I'm a rebel though, so I call it the It Crowd.
The It
Yeah,
Crowd.
I know.
And then
I've been to start that
South
over.
Park. See, South Park is daunting because I would love to start South Park over, but it's 8 fucking
like
seasons.
20-something seasons.
We are watching not the trashiest, but some of the trashiest reality TV you can watch right now. And I'm actually going to do a YouTube video, 6 YouTube videos, because there's 6 seasons. I'm going to do each season. My wife and I are on the old Pluto network, which for fuck's sake, give me a paid option. I will pay $5 a month to not watch the fucking commercials. For fuck's sake, literally, welcome to my vagina. I watched that 4 fucking times trying to watch an episode of fucking Surreal Life. Enough with the commercials. I will pay you, Pluto, to not fucking watch them. I have so many services, I will add you, you cocksucker. So, we've been watching basically we finished up.
Do you feel
what?
Do you feel welcome to the vagina or no?
No, it's a commercial that's like I could tell that they feel women watch the show. I hate when I'm watching a show with my wife and it's clearly female oriented because 3/4 of the ads are fucking tampon ads. Like, I don't want to watch a show and then every 5 minutes have, welcome to my vagina. And it's the same fucking, welcome to my vagina. Welcome to my vagina. Welcome. Enough. 15 seconds of your fucking vagina. I'm tired of it.
120 seconds, and you got 30 seconds of.
Yeah, literally, the episode is 28 minutes long, and I watched 7 fucking times that stupid ad between them. Because they just keep going, and it's not even like alternating. It's just one after the other about her fucking vagina.
TV's just glitched.
And she does, but she does this. She does just welcome them, and then the fucking screen goes all red and opens up like you're inside her giant swollen fucking vagina.
He's like, Jen, I even unplugged the TV from the fucking
I-
wall and it's still.
I had an idea where I want to take that commercial, and when she goes, welcome to my vagina, it's just me, and there's like thunderstorms, and like there's fucking wolves in the background for some reason. In here is fucking crazy, bitch. I don't know why you're inviting people. Like, it's just so ridiculous. But that is what we're watching. We finished Hell's Kitchen. Master Chef, we're on the last one. I love Hell's. If you can find them, look for the unedited versions because it just makes it.
They must know they're fucking.
Unedited Hell's Kitchen is a different story.
They're looking for you.
Because when you hear the bleep, it's like, oh, that Ramsay. When you hear him unedited call a female chef a stupid cunt, there's a whole level of real to that. Like, unedited is like, you fucking cow. When on Fox it's bleeped and it's like, Ramsay's kind of an asshole. Like, I don't know why taking away the bleeps makes me get the image of Ramsay being mean, but as soon as those bleeps are gone, it's like, he just called her a dumb cow. That's pretty rough. Like, but yeah, that's what we're watching, and then we're gonna end up starting 2 new series, a serious one and a comedy. She wants to watch My Name Is Earl. I don't really know if I want to watch that, but I think we're gonna. I don't know, man.
Did that show ever end?
Yeah.
It did. Yeah.
They had an ending?
Yeah,
They
I
had
think
an ending.
so.
I know it got canceled, but did they end it?
I think
Yeah.
so, yeah. I mean, it was on for a while. But all right, guys, everybody, we're all wrapped up. This is week 1 of Halloween. We will see you guys this
Halloween.
next week from now for week 2, which includes Phantasm, Sleepaway Camp, and Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yes.
I'm going to try to get this episode out Monday. Although I don't know. That was the week 1. I'm sorry. So this will be released October 1st. And then the second week of October's episode is probably going to be released that following Friday, which will be the 8th. And then we're gonna have an off week, which I'll have something to post, but it won't be a Halloween.
Which will be that week.
Yeah, the week of the 8th we're off, and then we've got 3 more weeks after that because we got 5 total weeks. 4 of them will be with Lewis. 1 of them will not be. He is unfortunately volunteering at a haunted house to where he plays the screaming girl. So good luck to him.
All lesbian cast.
Yeah,
haunted
including
house.
Lewis. Don't assume. That's rude.
Dude, I love Matzo, what she's doing right now.
Mozzarella?
Yeah,
The
look
cheese?
right there.
I'm more of a provolone guy.
Just chilling right there.
All right, guys. Everybody have a wonderful time. We will see you next week for Halloween. Look out. This is going to be after we publish some other content. Check out all the other videos on the YouTube. The plan is to be pumping out more. Soon we'll be launching the Patreon. I'll look out for that because the idea for the Patreon is to do stuff that we enjoy but we can't post on YouTube for whether it be guidelines or copyright or all that sort of shit. So at some
Or
point,
people's mouths.
I think the idea is at some point if we get big enough following on Patreon, live episodes become exclusive to Patreon as opposed to YouTube. But that is later in the works. Say bye, everybody.
Good day.
Malignant, the bukkake of genres.